EAGLES, Eagles.
Hump day! Yes, welcome in, everybody. What is up, Decoy Gaming? Chuck Hutton, Mr. Taz, B-Sing Sports, a killer ferret, our girl Tina, Kenny, Mood Swing Bell, another one of our girls, Jason A, Mr. Taz, Tyler. What is up, people? Happy Wednesday. Welcome on in to Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. Gunner, 6 hours and 7 minutes away from the first pitch. You're welcome. I know you missed it. I know you needed a countdown, my friend.
You are jacked up.
I am jacked up.
You are jacked up, and rightfully so.
I'm representing.
All right, so right out of the gate,
yes.
I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
Because I've been thinking about this since yesterday. Game 2,
yes.
Phillies have the Braves dead to rights for 7 innings. Dead to rights.
No doubt.
And all of a sudden, the bottom falls out, and an unbelievable double play that has never occurred in the history of postseason baseball.
Yep.
And you saw the euphoria from the Braves players as if they had finally broken a 7-year curse.
Yes.
What level of concern do you have as a loyal, supportive Phillies fan / journalist that maybe, just maybe, and we take in consideration Atlanta's coming here.
Yep.
Are you concerned that the Phillies may have awoken a sleeping giant?
Concerned? Yes. Overly concerned? No. 2 reasons. 1, I think the Phillies have a great advantage on the mound. Whether Atlanta rolls out Elder or Smith, whatever his name is, Shawver, either one, the Phillies have a great advantage, or if it's a piggyback game for them on the mound with Aaron Nola. And I know that sounds crazy considering the year that Nola's had, but I think they've made some corrections, and I think he's going to pitch well. And the old adage in baseball is, momentum's only as good as the next day's starting pitcher. So I think that's 1. 2, they are playing in a place that's in a loony bin. And I mean that as affectionately as I can say it.
Yes.
So I think those 2 things offset some of that sting. And I also think, Gunner, in the moment, like I'm sure on the plane ride home, man, those guys were like, damn, we had them dead to rights. We were about to put our foot on their throat and just it was over. So I'm sure they were hurting that day. But when that crowd rolls into that place tonight, and that game starts, man, I think they put it aside. And they've been very good all year at bouncing back from awful losses. A couple times, you remember, we came on the next day, Harper hit a home run to tie it or give them a lead, and the bullpen gives it up. They've been really good at bouncing back. So I think for all of those reasons, I believe momentum-wise, they're going to be okay. I truly do believe that. But I'd be lying to you if I said that there wasn't a part of me that was like, you had the opportunity to kill the bad guy in the movie.
Yeah.
And you put a couple shots in his shoulder, but you didn't get him in the chest or the head. Like he's still breathing.
It's like the Terminator. You Terminator. Every time you think you put him down, he comes back. It's like Freddy Krueger. It's like Jason. Every time you think you put him in the grave, all of a sudden they rise to the occasion. I will say I'm with you 100% with everything you just eloquently said. But Atlanta's that one team that doesn't fear playing in front of this crowd. It's going to come down to execution on both parts. I get that. But I just sat there as I watched the end of that game and watched the celebration. it was as if the Braves had won the $1 billion lottery, because if you looked at the expressions on their faces leading up to that, they looked dead in the water.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like a new life has been. Chuck Hutton says, "I knew D Gun was going to reopen the room." Look, it's got to be talked about.
No,
man.
it's real. It's real. It's a valid. Look, we don't cheerlead here. We keep it real, and it is a real thing.
The facts, man. I'm sorry, Chuck, I'm not trying to reopen wounds, brother.
No, you're keeping it real. And here's where I really, we always want to point blame after a big loss, and there's a lot of blame to go around. But for me, Turner on the relay throw that was like a routine little league play.
Yeah.
Booting that thing and giving them a run is what really started giving them life, Derek. That, first of all, the place was quiet. The whole, the Truist ballpark was quiet. Atlanta's bullpen or dugout was just, not moving, not doing anything. And that got it going. That I think was a little piece that they needed. And to me, this is what drives me crazy. Turner can make the play that he made in game one, which was one of the great defensive plays that you're ever going to see.
Yep.
And then he boots 2 routine balls game 2. I'm sorry. Like, I get human error happens sometimes, and I'll even give him that on the one that he kicked at shortstop. Yep. But the relay, that's concentration. How are you not locked in an NLDS game? I'm sorry. That's inexcusable. And I hope, Derek, that the other part is leaving all the runners in scoring position and on base. I hope that's a wake-up call to this Phillies team, because Atlanta can get you back as fast as any team in baseball faster.
Yes. I will say this, go back to game 1, Strider threw one away also,
Yeah. Harper on first base. Yep.
So he threw one away. I mean, it happens. Adrenaline rush, trying to make that play. When you're talking about making plays in a fraction of a second, the greatest of the greatest have made throwing errors. It's unfortunate when it happens, but I think it's more magnified because of the type of season that Turner has had. He led the majors in errors through, the month of early August, and then all of a sudden turned things around after that standing ovation, but it's still there that it could resurface, and unfortunately it did. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to execution, basically.
Yeah.
As dangerous as this Phillies lineup is, Atlanta's lineup is just as dangerous. They came in here and they won 3 out of 4 in Philly. Was it? What's something?
They actually, no, it was better than that. They won 5 of 6 during the regular season here, but they lost the only 2 that they played last year in the playoffs.
Yep. And we saw a similar scenario. Strider owned the Phillies in the regular season this year. Strider lost to them in the playoffs last year. Turns around, loses game 1 again to them this year. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. There are patterns here, but every story. It's the greatest thing about sports. It's unfortunate that one side has to go home disappointed when it's all said and done. But the greatest thing about sports is there's nothing pre-scripted. You can pre-script nothing, and we sit and analyze from baseball to football to basketball, and all of a sudden you see something completely different. So everything that we talk about today, as well as everybody else across the platforms, the sports platforms, are going to analyze this, the pluses, the minuses. We're going to see elements in this game tonight we're not expecting. Hopefully they are in favor of the Phillies, but that Atlanta team is a doggone good team as well. There's a reason why they won 104 games. There's a reason why they hit 307 home runs, by far the most powerful team in all of baseball this year. The psychological advantage the Phillies would have had after game 2 was insurmountable. You'd have buried Atlanta here. My fear is if Atlanta gets that one game here and you got to go back to Atlanta, it's a whole nother ball game.
I agree. Look, I think it's going to be I think whoever wins tonight wins the series. Let me put it that way. And I think whoever wins the series wins the World Series. Whoever wins tonight wins the NLDS. Whoever wins this NLDS wins the World Series. So I think there's a lot at stake. This is a gigantic game. If they lose, it's probably it could be the last game that Aaron Nola pitches for the Phillies. There's a lot of things at stake here. No question about it. And to see how they respond tonight, I agree with, I agree. I think it's a must win. I think it's a must win tonight for the Phillies. I really do.
I'll go so far as to say if Aaron Nola pitches like he's pitched the last 3 outings, if he does that in this game later today, his financial worth will go through the roof. Everything that happened for most of the season is inconsistencies. People will forget because they're going to say, that's the Aaron Nola, the ice water in his veins we expected to see.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, whether it's with the Phillies or with other teams pursuing him, the numbers are going to go up significantly for him.
I agree. Look, last 3 outings, just to back up your point. He faced the Marlins, Pirates, and Braves. 19 and 2/3 innings pitched, 3 runs allowed. I mean, he dealt. So, I mean, and that one game, the Marlins, that's a playoff game, 7 innings, not a run allowed. I get it. It's the Pirates, but the game before that was the Braves. He went 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. So he's, if Scott Fransky, when he was on our show last week, told us the adjustment they made was having him look at the pitch clock to his left, which is the one closer to the Phillies dugout on the first base side when they're home. If that was the adjustment, that they feel like that changed things for him. And look, for whether you want to believe that or not, confidence has a lot to do with success, and he feels good about himself right now. So the big thing is just avoid those crazy innings. I'll give you numbers later, Derek, of how he does with runners not on base versus on base, and it is, man, what a difference. So we'll get into that.
Sure. To pick up on something you said a few moments ago about whoever wins this series, you believe wins the World Series. I agree with you for the most part, but I look at 2 incredible Cinderella stories, and I don't know if one can be considered a Cinderella story because they won a lot of ball games. But I'm looking at what Arizona's doing. They haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs. I'm looking at what Texas is doing, and those 2 teams, they're both talented teams, power hitting teams, great pitching teams. All of a sudden, they've caught fire.
Yes.
Both of these teams.
Oh, I agree with you. Look, Texas, and they knocked off a phenomenal Baltimore team.
Oh, my goodness. 3 straight. Oh, my goodness.
They had a really good offseason, and they have an excellent manager. Bruce Bochy is a guy who led San Francisco to 3 World Series titles, okay? Yes. This guy's legit, man. And the other team that's dangerous, and just real quick, not do a whole baseball thing, but Houston, man, until they're dead and buried, look out for Houston. I will just tell you that.
You see how they hitting the ball? They won a game the other day, 9-1.
I was hoping they weren't going to get in, Derek, because they were close. They almost didn't get in the playoffs.
Came down to the last day.
Yep. They look out for Houston. Yes, I agree with you on both of those teams, man. And let's not slight Arizona. Arizona's rolling right now.
Let me tell you something. Arizona ain't no joke, man.
Nope.
Those boys are smacking the ball, playing great defense. They're getting great pitching, not just from the starting pitching, their bullpen. They're shutting people down. The Dodgers are dumbfounded right now by what Arizona. Do you know that Baltimore had not been swept a series the entire season?
Is that right?
They had not been swept. They had lost 3 in a row the entire season, I believe.
I didn't know that. That's a good stat. Yeah, I watched a lot of that game last night. I like Baltimore. I always like Baltimore. So I was hopeful that they would make it a series, man. But Texas is tough.
I will go so far as to say this: as much as I want the Phillies to get to the World Series, if somehow, some way they don't, I don't care who's in the World Series this year. I'm watching. Whether it's Texas, Houston, Arizona, Atlanta, I'm watching because the talent level is so incredible on all the teams that are still standing. It's amazing. I've got to see whoever the finalists are. It's going to be a great series. I got to see it. I have to see it.
I agree. It's fun. It's fun about this time of year. Fitness Rebel checking in. Father Sean, we see you guys. What's going on, Chuck?
What's
going on, everybody? Jason?
Trying to call me out. Don't call me out.
She's being nice to you today. She missed you yesterday.
She didn't miss me. She just loves to antagonize.
You two are like brother and sister, man. You battle. I like it.
She just loves to antagonize me. That's it.
I like that she likes to antagonize you. Yes,
I know
I'm all in favor. I'm in favor of you being antagonized. All right. So a couple things. Eagles back practicing today, Gunner. They have the Jets next. Nakobe Dean, they opened the window on him yesterday, what they call the 21-day practice window. Basically, it just means he's back at practice, and if he's up to it, I don't know that he, we'll see, but he could play Sunday if they felt he was up to it. I don't know that he is because he's missed significant time here, but he's back from the foot injury. Look, it just gives you more depth. I will say this in his absence, I give credit to Morrow and Cunningham. They're not perfect. They're not complete linebackers, all those kind of things. But I think they've played pretty darn well, all things considered.
I agree. I agree. Here's my concern with Nakobe. I hate to say this because I think he's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
Can he look? Yeah, he always gives me crap. It's okay. You know what, Fitness Rebel? Stop. No, get a shoulder to cry on, Fitness Rebel.
Oh,
Anybody buying this?
Oh, jeez. Don't be attacking Fitness Rebel.
You know.
All right.
Anyway, but I wonder if Nakobe Dean is stout enough to play in the middle, to be honest with you. I wonder if he's stout enough. I don't know. And I've said this before the season started. I think he's a little too light to hold it down in the middle. And we've seen smaller linebackers like the Devin Whites and these guys, but they're like 5'11", 6 foot 235, 240. I wonder if he's stout enough to be durable enough to hold down the fort in the middle. I think he would be better suited as a will. I really do. Obviously, the Eagles see it otherwise. And, hey, you know what? They're the ones that look at him on film, watch him in practice. They put him in the best position possible. I get that. But I just hope I don't see him get injured again, because then you know what's going to happen. Not just me, across the board. His durability is going to come into play on so many social media platforms, being able to hold up for an entire season. And, of course, they're going to talk about his size as well. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. His range is incredible. The ability to cover, to get down the line of scrimmage and stop running backs from turning the corner is incredible. But I do worry about his durability, which is going to come into question. No question about that.
Yeah, no, look, Derek, it's the $1 million question with him. And one game he got hurt. You know what I mean? It's like it's very fair question. I did a show with him before the season, and we were in person. We were sitting next to him, and first of all, the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Smart, everything. He's got everything going for him. But looking at him and sitting next to him, I felt like I was sitting next to a safety. Like, he just doesn't. You don't feel like the size is there, and it doesn't mean he can't do it.
Right.
The guy was a great college player at the highest level for the best defensive team in college football. So I think he's very much in a wait and see. Hopefully he's able to stay healthy the rest of this year, and we'll have a much better handle on exactly, whether or not he can do this. And I think, the Eagles believed in him enough to make him the starter going into the season. So they have a belief in him. And, to a degree, you have trust that if they see it in him, then he can do it.
Yeah. They know better. They know better than we do. They know, you can't, considering they're 5-0, who am I to question anything that they're doing and how they, strategically put the chess pieces on the board? It may not be flawless, but up to this point, it's worked. I mean, hey, there's only 2 teams left in the NFL that are unblemished, and one of them reside right here in Philadelphia. So, can't complain about that.
Well, and later we haven't broken. I'm surprised we haven't done it yet. But as we head into week 6, we're going to break out a power ranking. We have we have not power ranked.
Yes. You didn't give a hump. Did you give a hump day today?
I gave a killer hump day. I pulled like 4 muscles doing it. Yes, I'm still in recovery.
All right. Just
want another one? I'll give you one more.
Give me another one here.
All right. Here we go. Hump day.
You're showing your age, old man. You're showing your age.
All right. I need a masseuse. I need to. All right. I'm okay. All right. So no, I'm excited. So we're gonna do our top 5 power rankings of the NFL. Who are our top 5 teams right now? Because there's a lot of different ways you could go with this. And I was looking at how the Las Vegas odds have moved quite a bit. And there's a little disrespect to the Eagles. I will just say that. There's a little disrespect because they haven't necessarily played their A game yet, which I think we'd all agree. I think the Eagles would agree they haven't played their A game yet. But there's something to be said for a team that's able to get wins even when not playing their A game. Like there's something to be encouraged about with that.
You know what? Imperfect perfection is fine with me. Yo,
yes,
you want to jump in too?
Yes, Tina. Like yes.
Oh, wow. Dang.
D Gun taking shrapnel in his return.
Mr. Taz, you want to get in? Oh, Dinosaur Derek calling Rob old will never not be funny. Dinosaur Derek? You have no idea how old I am, first of all, number one. Number two, how old are you, Mr. Taz? We haven't seen your face. We don't know. You could be somebody sitting in a rocking chair somewhere, man. Drinking a little hot tea or something with a little shawl on.
Yeah.
A little hot toddy with a little shawl on, man. That's right. Bring it today. You know what? It's hump day. As Rob was saying, it's hump day. We talking football. We talking playoff baseball. You know what? Can't nothing faze me today. It takes a lot to get to me anyway, Rob.
I know. You are like Teflon, man. Ping, ping, ping. All the shots are just flying off you. I know. How it works.
Look, I like to tease people, and I take it like the best of. I always tell people, if you can't laugh at yourself, you have no reason laughing at anybody else. Seriously.
Correct.
And you know me, Rob. I love to tease. I love to antagonize. Yeah. And I think it's funny. You would come at me, anybody come at me, I think it's funny. It's hilarious. You can't get to me, man. There's too much going on in the world. Look, I'm all about having some fun. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, Anthony's got your back. Yes.
Anthony, look, I'm not trying to get anybody, bro. I'm going to give it and I'm going to take it, man. That's how it goes, bro. It's all good, fun and games, man.
You know what it is? It's
all good.
Fire. It's
fire.
That's all it is.
It's the people who take stuff to the gutter that I
Correct.
wish we could eliminate from our chat and every chat on the JAKIB Media. There's some people that just get on here to be nasty,
Correct.
take stuff to the gutter. But you know what? For the most part, our crew, our daily crew, they're funny.
Oh,
people funny,
they
man.
are. I tell you, man, there's nothing better. Jim Valvano had the great speech, where he talked about,
right.
You've had a full day if you've laughed, if you've cried, but blah, blah, blah. And he's right. Hopefully there's tears of joy, hopefully. But if you haven't laughed, you haven't kind of belly laughed throughout the course of the day, you probably haven't had a great day, man. It's nice to laugh. It's nice to laugh at yourself. It's nice to have somebody, make you laugh, whatever. Laugh with people, not at people or whatever. And that's what it's all about. And that's what we do. That's what we do. That's what at least we hope we do. Yeah.
I will never let anyone ruin my entire day. Now, you might have bad moments in a day, stressful moments in a day, but no one can ruin my entire day.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Well said. Well said, my friend. Okay, we have an answer now. It's Bryce Elder. We'll get the start for the Braves tonight, Gunner. There was some question of how they would do this thing. All right, well, let me give you something on him. If you look at his numbers from the overall season, they're pretty good. However, if you dig a little bit deeper and you look at him after the All-Star break, so after the All-Star break, 5.75 ERA in 14 starts. That's not great. Okay. He had one good start, one bad start against the Phillies this season. It's really kind of a 50-50 split for him. So this is advantage Phillies as far as the pitching matchup goes.
It
really is.
It is. And we can't emphasize enough. The last three outings of Aaron Nola have been stellar outings, but I do have my concerns about Aaron Nola on the hill. I still do. I'm trying to be more positive, Rod. I really am. We've seen that positively come out in Aaron these last three starts. But Rob, we've had a whole season sample of inconsistent Aaron Nola, and I have my concerns stepping on the hill today. I really do.
Yeah,
that place is going to be at a fever pitch. The 10th man for the Phillies is an integral part of their success. The players feed off of that 10th man. But like I said before, Atlanta is one of the few teams that are not buckled by a crowd noise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing too is the hard part about Nola. We know this, Derek. He can look great first 2, 3, 4 innings. And you're saying to yourself, oh man, here we go. And then when it comes apart, it comes apart. So until he's out of the game, you're never really feeling, unless the Phillies have a 10-run lead or something like that, you're never feeling comfortable.
I wasn't on the show yesterday. I never got a chance to ask you. Were you okay with where Thompson decided to pull Wheeler on Monday?
Yeah, I had no problem. Yeah, I think the big controversy was, should he have started the 7th? I had no problem with him starting the 7th. I didn't. I still felt like he was very, very strong. Yeah,
me either. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That wasn't a game I blame Thompson. I think the players, man, leaving all the runners on base that they left on, as bad as they were with runners in scoring position.
Right.
The two errors we talked about with Turner, and then Harper I don't even kill Harper for it because I know his thought process is that thing hits the wall, I'm scoring. Right.
Exactly.
But it came down to those errors by the players, in my opinion, more than it did the managerial decisions.
I mean, we just to come to the realization that this Phillies team has been aggressive on the base paths all season, and 98% of the time it has worked in their favor. And it was just one of the times it just did not. The laws of baseball averages just did not work in their favor. Because you're right, if that ball ricochets off Harris's glove, if it caroms off the wall, run scores easily. Harper's running through stop signs at third base. He ain't stopping until he gets home.
Yeah.
So it's 5-0 at that point. Or at least they come back. But it happens.
I agree.
It's part of baseball. It happens.
It is.
Now the script. Now, will you get to watch the entire game, or do you have other responsibilities?
No, I'm going today. I'm going. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah,
you going to the game?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun. I get that. My wife and my son are going, so the three of us are going to go down to the game. So as soon as we get off the air, I'm rolling, man. I'm going to go get him, and we'll go. We're going to have fun.
Where are your seats? Where are you sitting?
I'm I'm up. I think I'm up in the right field. A little high up. There's no bad seats there. I'm good. I don't care. I just want to be there. I'm not worried about it. I'll be fine. Yeah.
You are the consummate Philly sports loyalist, my friend. I bow before you.
I'm excited. No, I'm excited. Look, playoff baseball is a different animal, man. It really is. It's a whole different thing. So,
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun.
Will you stay for the entire game?
100%. I will be staying for the whole game.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Are you one of these guys that strategically park far away from? I have friends who do this, and this is great, but I still won't do it. I have friends when they go to sporting events, they strategically park far away so they're not stuck in the main congestion around a stadium or a ballpark. When they jump in their car, they have a clear sailing to go. Yeah. And they may park as far as a mile away and walk.
Yeah, I do that. I learned that when you and I worked at the Wells Fargo Center. Okay, so for people who don't know, Derek and I worked when we worked for Comcast Sportsnet and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Our offices and our studios were in the Wells Fargo Center.
Yep.
So on game days, we couldn't park where we normally park, kind of right in front of the door. You had to park. Right. Those areas were cordoned off for people. So what I learned, I think you probably did the same thing. I would go as far as I could go. There was a spot right where you could get out on that little side street, which poured you into Broad. And it was the best move you ever made. It got you right out of there quickly on game nights. So I adapted that, Derek, to every sporting event I go to. I know a place to park at Citizens Bank. I know a place to park. I don't really when I go to Eagles games, it's work. I don't generally go to Eagles games as a fan. I'm there in the press box, and then I'll roll at halftime to go to the studio. So it's different. But when I go to either Flyers, Sixers games or Phillies games, I'll bite the bullet, have the long walk to the game and a little bit of a walk to get out of the game, but I can't be in that sea of humanity, man.
No.
I have no problem, but it's exactly what I do. It's exactly.
Dude, I had it down to a science. Parking on the backside of that Wells Fargo lot by that gate.
Yep.
You're right. Slip out that back, zip around the 95. The only problem is sometimes once you made that arc and got up onto Broad Street,
that was the problem.
You got stuck in that mess, and you would try to. In my case, I tried to move over 3 lanes to make that quick left to get back on 95 South. Sometimes it would take 20 minutes just to be able to move over to that 3rd lane so I can make that U-turn.
We did the same thing because we were both headed the same way. We were both going south on 95. That was the hardest part. Merging in to Broad was a pain in the butt, but then getting over and making the left took forever. But once you got past that, you were fine. You had no issues whatsoever. Yeah. So
you see, Tina said real fans don't leave early. What you trying to say, Tina? I'm not a real fan. I'm a real fan sitting at home watching the game.
Why are you taking everything personally now? She didn't single you out on that one.
Hey, you know what? It ain't never personal. What did Nino Brown say? It ain't never personal. It's always business.
Yes.
It's always business. It ain't never personal, Rob.
You should have wore your Nino Brown shirt that you have. You haven't worn that in a while. You got to rock that bad boy.
I'll wear it tomorrow, Friday. No, I'm gonna save it for Friday.
All right. Good.
I like. You know what? I'm a real fan sitting at home in front of my 82-inch screen TV with my fridge right here, my bathroom right there. That's a real fan, and I'm watching from start to finish.
Listen, I hear you with that. Believe me. Hey, what's up, DA Phillies Ace 34?
What's up, DA?
Hello, guys. We appreciate you, man. Let's go Phillies. Y'all are the best. Is there anything to get excited about with the Flyers can possibly outshine? So I would say this. Is there anything to get excited about? Let's take the first part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think they realized the way they were doing things was not the right way, the Flyers. And I think they know they had to kind of tear this thing down to the stud and rebuild. So I think they understand that. So that's good. Do I think they'll outshine the Sixers? No, I don't think they're good enough to be better than the Sixers, even though, look, the frustrations are high with the Sixers. I get it. But the Flyers are going to be one of the 5 worst teams, I think, in hockey. That's not going to be the Sixers. For whatever they are, they're a playoff team. And they're not going to outshine the Sixers. But
Here's what I like about where the Flyers are doing. I love the moves they made in the front office, a fresh approach, with Keith Jones. I love the coach. Say what you want to say about the coach. I think he's the right coach to revamp, reshape, remold the young contingent of players they're going to have. I think there'll be a more competitive team. I don't think there'll be a winning team. Yeah. The Sixers, as much as they frustrate everybody, and James Harden has been a good boy so far.
Yep.
And there's a possibility James Harden could be in a Sixers uniform. I do think the Sixers will be a good team. They'll win 45, 50 games. I do believe that. I just don't think the Sixers are a team that are going to go deep into the playoffs again. After watching what both Boston and Milwaukee have done, Miami lost some key components, like Strus and Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, they're big losses. Those guys were key role players. Yeah,
key role players. But see, Miami to me is tenacious on both ends of the floor, just like Boston,
and extremely well coached by Spoelstra. Yeah,
I think Boston is the best two-way team in the East in terms of offense, defense. I think Milwaukee, by adding Dame, I think Milwaukee adding Dame and re-signing a number of their players is going to be the Bucks again. They're going to win close to 60 games, 58, 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
And Miami's going to be that team that's like the pit bull. You're going to have a hard time shaking them off.
No doubt.
I don't know what to make of the Sixers team. I don't know if all the wounds that have been opened will heal by the time the season starts, by the time they get deep into the season. For that matter, we don't know if Harden's going to be here the entire season. I still believe he came back and is being good because there's something in the back works here in terms of a promise they made. Look, dude, just come here, work out. We're working on trying to get you out of here.
Yeah, it helps you and it helps us if there's no craziness. Yeah,
exactly. So
I agree.
Derek Gunn, who wins the game tonight, Twins or Astros? Well, I got to go with Astros, man. I mean, the Twins have been phenomenal.
They've overachieved. The Twins have. Yeah,
dude, they had the worst record for a division winner in baseball.
Yeah,
and they're still standing. They beat Houston one game already.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Houston. I'd like to see the Twins upset them. Trust me. I want Houston done. But I don't feel good about that one. That's for sure. The one thing I will say, last thing on the Sixers, I am interested to see what Nick Nurse does differently from Doc, how he incorporates things.
Yes.
So I will.
Yes.
I'll be curious about that. But yeah, I'm with you. There's a lot going on in the East, man, and it just doesn't feel like they're good enough to get past either one of those two teams. So ultimately, we're going to come to the same spot, and you're sitting there in the second round, and if they play either one of those two teams, do I think the Sixers can beat them? No, I don't. I mean, frankly, I don't. So
hey, look, the Phillies Ace 34 presents a good question here, Rob. He said, "Enjoy the game. What's Gunner's ticket?"
Doesn't like crowds. So Gunner will be in front of his big screen with his nice drink, with something he may be fired up on the grill. I know what you're going to be up to, and it will be on the couch, my friend.
The fact that you didn't even offer it hurts. It hurts the left side that pumps blood. It just pierces to the core. I'm just saying. You left D-Gun out of the equation. Hey, D-Gun, would you like to join us? Nothing. You know what? I'm glad you brought it up, the Philly. I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to seem petty, but now it's out there.
Here's what I'll do. If the Phillies get to the World Series, I will do everything I can to get Gunner a ticket.
It's okay, Rob. The damage has been done. Don't worry about it. It's already been done.
I can't make up for it. I got you. I got you.
Still love you like a stepbrother. Don't get me wrong. Always will. But the damage is done. I'll get through this. And this too shall pass.
All right. Let's get here, Brutal. Let's get a timeout. And we're going to look at the good through 5 games with the Eagles. At 12 o'clock, Derek, we're going to dip into the Jets, give you some numbers. They are banged up along the offensive line. The defensive line should be able to eat in this game for the Eagles against the Jets, especially considering who the quarterback is too. But we come back, just the start that Jalen Carter's off to, what DeAndre Swift's doing, A.J. Brown, Hurts, some other good team stats. We'll dig into all of that. Like I said, later we'll do our NFL power rankings 1 through 5 here through the start. All right, let's talk about Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Yes, Bravo Pizza of Havertown. I've been going there since I was a kid, and they've been family-owned since 1985. You got Alex and the crew. Just an unbelievable assortment of food, man. 20 different styles of pizza. They have slices to go. They have the upside down, which is absolutely just mouth-watering, okay? They have specialized pizza however you want it. They will make it for you. But if you're not up for pizza, they have pasta. They have sandwiches. They have wraps. They have wings. They have salads. But they're also committed to the community as Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Whether it's fundraisers for charity, schools, little leagues, proceeds go to those organizations. They're always looking out for the people in their community. You could follow them at the Bravo Pizza of, on Instagram and Facebook for daily specials and promotions. They're located at 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown. 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown, Pennsylvania. 610-446-3810. That is 610-446-3810. You know what? You heard me talk about it. Let's give you a little video sampling of Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We're big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street, and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Back. Yes, we are. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Sports Take. Let's hit the like button, friends, if we could. That is Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this Wednesday. All right, Derek. So a couple things with the Eagles here. 5-0 start, as you mentioned. One other team, the 49ers, also undefeated. I was looking at it today, and the teams with one loss. So we have some. The Dolphins 4-1.
Yep.
Obviously, played very good football, had the one slip up. Kansas City 4-1. They lost their opener. That game was out Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. So they're 4-1 as well. Detroit 4-1. They've won 3 straight, playing very good football right now across the board.
Yep.
Tampa 3-1. They had the bye week last week. Seattle 3-1 also had the bye week. So they're your either no loss or one loss teams. And like I said, we'll do our power rankings later, but to be, one of 2 teams still standing here through 5 weeks, impressive. Let's start with Jalen Carter here. I said this yesterday. I've been saying this for a while now. I'm lifting the rookie tag off of him because he is a premier defensive tackle, period. You look at the numbers, 2 sacks versus the Rams. He's got 3.5 through the season so far through 5 games, 4 tackles for losses, 4 quarterback hits. If you do view him through the rookie prism, according to Pro Football Focus, in virtually every single category among rookie defensive tackles, he's number 1. Win rate, sacks, tackles for losses, etc. He is right there. And according to Sean Desai yesterday, who was speaking about him when he met with the media, he said he's like a sponge. This guy soaks up everything that is thrown his way. They have been. He stopped himself short of saying like pleasantly surprised, but let's face it, Derek, we knew the reputation wasn't great. It's why he lasted to where the Eagles took him. But so far, I'm talking about off the field, so far, glowing, raving returns on what kind of teammate he's been and player.
You talk about a student of the game. After that game against the Rams, he told the media that he spent the entire 5 hours on the flight to Los Angeles looking at film of the offensive line tendencies. Usually a young player, when they get on the flight, they want to rest up, they're jaw-jacking with teammates, get a couple hours of sleep. This dude's studying game film of the offensive line. Now, they spent all week studying film. He takes it a step farther to make sure he's seeing what he wants to see, and already the mechanisms in his head. If I use this move, if I use this powered burst, I can do this, I can do that. I don't know to what degree Fletcher Cox has been a mentor to him, but if it has been significant, because he said he's learned a lot from Fletcher, they should give Fletcher a bonus. I'm serious, because this young man has surpassed in 5 games, I think, everybody's expectations. We knew coming out he was one of the top 2 defensive players on the board. Houston took who they took, and the Eagles were fortunate to get this young man at number 9. Man, did they get a steal at number 9 with this kid? And if he can stay healthy, he will be a cornerstone for this defense for at least a decade. You know how the Eagles are. If they like a player, he's going to be here. They'll do everything they can to keep him here for a long time, i.e. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson. They are not shy about keeping players that they love to keep in the fold. If this young man continues to play this kind of consistent football, he'll be with his organization for at least a decade, unless something happens devastating like an injury. Yeah. Outside of that, I cannot see him not being here in Philadelphia. I really can't.
I agree with you. I mean, look, what he's done in the early going here has been, I think we all had high expectations of him, because if you saw him play, you knew how talented he was. But, it's one thing to do it in college. It's another thing to do it in the pros. And man, he hasn't skipped a beat. He has just been absolutely awesome so far. So that's one of those where, a lot of times it's wait and see with draft picks, but man, we're not waiting for anything. You see it, you know what this looks like. So that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, interesting. Jake brought this up yesterday. He was saying you can make an argument that he's an upgrade over Hargrave. First of all, in the run game, it's Carter all day.
Yes.
You know, Hargrave is really good at getting after the quarterback. But
yes,
if you prorate what Carter's doing so far, Derek, 3.5 through 5 games,
yeah,
he's going to be pushing double digits.
Right now he's looking at a 12 to 14 sack season as a rookie.
Exactly.
Which puts him right in line for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. I think the way the Eagles like to use their D tackles, not only is he shining, but he's allowing other players to do a lot of things as well to contribute to the overall success. And when I say other players, I mean other guys on that front seven, not the back end, but the front seven. Allow them to play certain games and stuff like that to be successful and to win more battles than they lose. This young man has already commanded the attention of every team that's on the Eagles schedule this year, and rightfully so. And this dude, nonstop motor, and you look at the volume of plays he's playing. It's not like they're overplaying him either.
No.
Yeah. And
it's been on somewhat limited snaps. Yeah, I agree with you. He's just going to get better.
And let's face it, Rob, when you're 22, you got a whole lot more energy than when you're 29, 30, 32.
Yeah. You talk to BG and Fletcher, and they're like, "Yeah, man, it gets a little tougher as the years go on."
Let them have them. Let them have them, man.
I know. Let me throw this at you real quick, and we'll do the Jets next segment. But I just wanted to pass this along to you. So, the media in New York asked Robert Saleh today about the tush push, and he said, "quote Got to try to give Jalen Hurts 11 kisses."
What the heck does that mean? Oh,
it means all 11 guys better nail them.
You're not getting 11 guys on him. You're not.
No.
There's no way. Number one, the offensive line is too big. And you look at how low they get when that ball snapped.
Yeah, the leverage is crazy.
The leverage, because they know when the snap is, so they automatically have the advantage in terms of leg push before defense can try to lock in and push back. By then, it's too late.
Yeah, I agree.
It's over.
I agree. That's the thing. You don't think every team's trying to give Jalen Hurts 11 kisses?
Exactly, man.
Every single week?
You got guys diving over the pile trying to grab him to hold him up until somebody else can get a push. It's not working.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Not going to do it.
Not going to do it. All right. So DeAndre Swift, Gunner, over 500 total yards already. He's got 434 on the ground. He's got 75 in the air. He's averaging 5.7 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. We thought he was going to be part of a triumvirate, if you will, or even that four-headed monster, and maybe not be the feature guy that he's been so far, but he's blossomed into that, and he's thrived in that role. He's been awesome for them so far.
He's been everything they've wanted and then some. He's a game changer. He's a better version of Miles Sanders. As shifty of a runner as Miles Sanders was, this guy's not only shifty, but he's also a better power runner. When he lowers that shoulder and kicks in that leg drive, I think he does a better job. And that's not a knock against Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is a very good running back. But this guy takes it to a whole nother level. He came out of college as a proficient pass catcher. He is that. I wish the Eagles would use him a little bit more in passing situations. But then again, how do you spread the wealth when you have the likes of those 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers and one of the best tight ends in the game? It's hard to do. But just getting him the ball, especially in open space, it's automatic 5-6 yards from what we've seen of him so far. I just want to make sure the Eagles do a very good job of controlling his touches so that he is there at the end and he doesn't have to take any setbacks physically.
Right.
History shows he gets nicked up every now and then, but that's part of football also. But just control. I don't want to see him with 28 touches in a game consistently. There's some games he may have to get 28 touches.
Yeah.
But you keep him right around 17, 21, 22. That's a perfect number for him.
I agree with you. I think you could do more with him long haul with a little less in the meantime. And Gainwell's been maybe you try to incorporate Boston Scott a little bit more into some of this and see what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, I think it's something to monitor for sure because of his injury history. 100%. AJ Brown, man, I 35 catches, 541 yards already, 15.5 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. That's through just 5 games. He's on a pace to have better numbers than he had last year. And I said this to Tone yesterday, Derek. I think we sort of assumed like he was a finished product when he got here.
Yeah.
But he's still so young. He's just getting better.
He's only 25 or 26. That's scary,
Yeah.
And I think at this point he will surpass his numbers. I said I projected that he would not get 1,500 yards. At this point, I have to change my projections because he's on pace to get close to 1,800 yards receiving right now. Now, I don't think that can keep up consistently because certain defenses are going to double him up and try to take him out of games. Then it's Devontae's time to shine, Goddard's time to shine, and,
Right.
Swift's time to shine as well. But if he can get close to the numbers he's putting up right now, we're talking a 1,800 yard season, which is phenomenal.
It's
He already broke in 1 year here. He already broke the Eagles single season record for yards. He's going to break his own record by a couple of hundred yards this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And Devontae Smith is not exactly chopped liver. I mean, you look at what he's doing. He's got 23 catches, 290 yards, more than 12 and a half per catch, and 2 touchdowns. He's played very well. And I expect, last week was quiet, obviously. I would expect him to be a little bit more involved. The Eagles will tend to do that, get the guy that touches early and kind of get him off and get him going a little bit. So I would expect a good week out of him. And this is going to be a challenge. We'll get into this in a minute, but the Jets corners, if DJ Reed is right and he's in concussion protocol, I haven't seen if he's playing or not officially, but with he and Gardner, they're the two best tandem they faced all year. Those two guys.
I would agree, but they're handcuffed because of who's throwing them the football. It kind of diffuses the weaponry of what they can be.
No, I'm saying the corners for the Jets.
Oh, the corners. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you said the corners. Okay.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner, to me, is just a phenomenal talent. To do what he did as a rookie and to continue that this season, as good as rookies are, and we see some that separate themselves right out of the gate, there's still somewhat of a fear factor because of who you're going up against. And, especially if you're thrown in there as a starter, you don't want to make a glaring mistake, which could cost you and shatter your confidence. I don't know what mold this kid came out of, but he is fearless.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see if they're going to keep him on one side, because, if he stays on one side, he's either going to get AJ or, Devontae, or if they're going to have him shadow Devontae the whole game.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, if he shadows Devontae the whole game, then that means if he shadows AJ the whole game, that means Devontae's going to have a time to step up if Reed's out of the game. But I can't wait to see this matchup. I think the Eagles are going to win the game by double digits because the Jets just don't have the quarterback to put the ball in the end zone. And this is a team that's frustrated. Now, they got a big win last week, no question about it. But this is a team that's frustrated, and you see the animation on the sideline. You see, Garrett Wilson being very animated on the sideline because they're not getting him the ball.
Yeah.
And, and I'm sure to a certain degree, it has to make Zach Wilson that much more uncomfortable knowing that his teammates are frustrated with him. The fan base is frustrated with him. And that makes you a little bit more, timid.
You press a little bit more.
More. Yes. And a little bit more timid because you're so afraid of making a mistake. And what happens when you become a little bit more timid? You hold the ball a little bit longer. You allow that Eagles D-line to get to you that much more. I was hoping Rodgers would play because I really want to see this be a good game.
Yeah.
But, hey, such is the case. And that's why I think this game will be a lopsided when it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I think the Eagles cover the spread. I think it's going to be an Eagles game. I agree with you. Spread is 7-ish.
That low?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think some of it is the Eagles haven't blown teams out necessarily. I think that plays into it a little bit. Let me see if it's moved at all. It was 6.5. It opened at 6.5. Let me just see where it is right now. It's 7. It's 7. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because the Eagles really haven't blown teams out. I think there's still a belief somewhat in the Jets defense. Even though, we'll get into it. You can run on them, but we'll talk about it. But nonetheless,
and there's no way on God's green earth the Jets are going to come. The Jets are going to take the field and run for 230 yards on this Eagles defense.
No,
ain't no way they're running for 230 like they just did What they run for 234 this past game?
On Denver, yeah, they ripped Denver apart.
There ain't no way in the world they're running for 230 yards on this Eagles defense, which makes them a one-dimensional team because Zach Wilson can't deliver the goods.
Yep.
So unless the Jets can find a measure of success running the football, control the clock, keep the game close, they'll have a prayer winning this game.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to try and do, but establish the run. But we'll see, because the Eagles have been phenomenal all year in that category. It's a dramatic turnaround because they were mediocre last year at best against the run. One other area the Eagles have been really good from an offensive standpoint is third down conversions. They were 13 for 18 against the Rams last week, which is unbelievable. So that's encouraging. I mean, what you obviously the thing you want to see them improve on is red zone. Red zone's not acceptable with what they're doing in the red zone in terms of scoring touchdowns, but being able to move the chains is something they've been very good at this year. And that's a credit to Jalen. Jalen's been very good in those situations a lot of times. And, you look at his numbers, Derek, I think they're not going to blow you away, but you have to pay attention to what's happened the last two games in the direction that he's trending. Like, he's at 1,262 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completing 67%, 91.4 passer rating, but he's over 300 the last 2 games. He appears to be finding his groove here, especially with Brian Johnson. And he just looks, to me, he looks more comfortable out there altogether as a quarterback.
It's a sign of maturity, I think, with him now, And we talk about him being an old man in a young man's body. But I think this is a part of the maturation of what Jalen Hurts is doing now. We talked about, did he seem a little bit slower? But I think he's more calculated because he showed when he had to against the Rams, he still has that burst. I just think he's more calculated now, and I think he's being coached up that way. When you look at what's happening to some of these quarterbacks, look at what happened with Deshaun Watson. Look how different that offense was when he's out of the game. Yeah. Anthony Richardson is probably the biggest quarterback in the NFL at 6'4", 250. Right. Now that dude's he's going to be out at least 4 games with the shoulder injury.
Maybe longer. Yeah,
putting himself in harm's way, taking unnecessary shots. You look at a Lamar Jackson who missed 6-7 games last year because of their overall athleticism. And I think the Eagles have identified this. Look, we're going to utilize all of your attributes, no question about it. We just want to be a little bit smarter with it. We have to be, because we know what you mean to this offense and this team in terms of us getting to where we want to go, which is another shot at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well said. Well said, D-Gun. All right, let's come back and let's dig into those Jets. We'll look at what Wilson's doing. We'll look at what Breece Hall's doing offensively, defensively, guys to watch, because they do have some names on the defensive side, legit, but they are banged up on the offensive line, which is where the Eagles tend to eat. That's tend to where they really make their hay. So we'll get into that when we come back. 1 o'clock or 12:30. Sorry, we'll do some Phillies. 1 o'clock, we'll do our NFL segment, including our NFL power rankings. We got a lot in store. You don't want to go anywhere. Hit the like button if you could, friends. We'll be right back. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Yes, knowing who to trust with your finances can be a scary proposition. I'm right there in the front of the line with you. But I can tell you from personal experience that somebody that I trust is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business and you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground. You're not sure how to go about doing that. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. And he's also there anytime you have any questions. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him, Murray, murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Back. Yes, we are. That is Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We're hanging out with you on this Wednesday. Talking some Eagles here, getting you set for the Birds and the Jets. Derek, let me ask you this. Do you worry at all about a look ahead? This team has always been prepared under Nick Sirianni. We know that it's one of the signatures is they show up every week, right? But you have Miami on deck, and the Eagles have never lost to the Jets in their history. I think they're 12-0 historically against the Jets. Miami, that's a big one. And everybody's kind of excited to see that. But do you fear that at all, that they'll look ahead?
No. It's part of the culture and what's expected. The Eagles will always tell you, and Jason Kelsey is always at the forefront of this. We can't afford to look past anybody because in this league, anybody can jump up on you in any given moment. This is a very smart team. You have a brain trust, a leadership trust that ingrains this in the players. We can't be looking ahead to anybody. That's not how you do this. The veteran core will not allow it to happen. The coaches will not allow it to happen. And your young quarterback, he's already shown he will not allow that happen as well. You know, the Miami game will come here soon enough. But before we get to that, we got our primary objective is, number one, to stay unblemished and to stay at least 2 games up on the closest pursuer to us in the division. Number 2, to get off the field relatively unscathed injury-wise. And number 3, win the doggone game. Mm-hmm. I don't care how we win the game, just win the doggone game. That's all they care about. They have 17 chances to be as good as they can be to try to secure that number 1 seed to make sure everybody has to come through Philadelphia again. That's how they approach this thing. You know, I am never worried about this team looking past any opponent at all.
Okay. I don't think they will either. I think for a lot of the things that you just mentioned, there's a checks and balances with this team where it just doesn't happen. I think it starts with the head coach, but I think it filters down to his coaching staff, guys like Stoutland, but certainly from a player standpoint, the quarterback, the veterans like Brandon Graham, guys like Kelsey, guys like Lane Johnson, et cetera. So I agree with you. But I think it's something to consider. I don't think it will happen, but I think with some teams, they could fall prey to that. So, but I don't think it will happen with the Eagles. All right, Jets, Derek, 2-3 on the season.
Yep.
They've won 2 games. They won their opener and they won their last game. The last game, little sweet revenge for Nathaniel Hackett. They beat the Broncos. We know how that went. They gave him a game ball, all those kind of things. But then again, Denver's got 1 win, and that 1 win came against Chicago, who basically gave them the game.
Right.
So they've won 2. They're down 2 offensive linemen in Dwayne Brown and Elijah Vera Tucker. They actually signed Dennis Kelly. Remember Dennis Kelly? They just signed him.
Absolutely.
Former Eagle. But they're hurting on that defensive line. And Mekhi Becton seems to always have some kind of nagging injury as well. He's another one. So you would think the combination of not having a great offensive line and Zach Wilson, who to his credit has played a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but still for the season, 91 of 149.
Yep.
4 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's completing 61% of his passes, and he's got a 73.4 passer rating with a fumble. This should be a big sack day for the Eagles D-line.
I couldn't agree with you more. You froze for a minute. I didn't know if that was me or you. You froze for a minute. I think, as I said a few moments ago, Zach Wilson has so much on his plate in terms of being ostracized by the media and by the fan base and by one of the greatest players that ever played a position in Joe Namath, that his head is swimming in terms of not living up to being a first-round pick and more people against him than with him. And you can see, you can't emphasize this enough. Body language says a lot with a team. And you got to see the Jets play one time, and I've seen highlights and we see clips from other games. You can see the body language. There's a lot of frustration in that organization. And as positive as the coaching staff tries to be and the front office tries to be, they understand they're at a severe deficit with Zach Wilson under center. They get it, but that's all they've got right now. That's their best option right now. And all the other options out there don't appear to be appealing. I mean, think about it. Colin Kaepernick has put his name out there, sign me, nothing. The former quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons says he's not
Matt Ryan.
He's not interested. And anybody else you look at is not going to be much better than a Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
it's a shame, and we all thought the Jets were going to make hay this year because of the way that roster was constructed, that this team was going to be a monster to deal with. All of a sudden, the head of the monster has been cut off in 75 seconds into their season.
Yeah.
And so now, as positive as that they try to remain, they realize they're at a severe deficit. They go out, they put up a good front, and then all of a sudden, for the most part, the game gets away from them in a big game situation, and it's completely different. I think in this game, the Eagles are going to control the clock offensively. You're going to see a lot of defensive players from the Jets with hands on their knees by the fourth quarter, sucking wind, because the Eagles are controlling the clock, and it's going to be good night, game over. This has got to be a nightmare season for the Jets organization. It was the perfect storm. When they got Aaron Rodgers, it was the perfect storm of what they did this entire offseason to put this team together to combat the likes of Miami and Buffalo for their division title. And now they're more concerned about battling New England for the bottom of the division.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, let's just go offensively, Derek. They're 24th in scoring, 18.6 points per game. They're 11th in rushing, 123.2, and dead last, 160.4 passing yards per game. Now, like I said, he's played a little bit better the last couple of games. They beat Denver, and to his credit, he hung in there against Kansas City. He showed some heart in that game.
Yep.
But I think ultimately, when it comes down to the kind of heat that he's going to get in this game with this defensive line, I think he will make mistakes. I think it'll result in turnovers. I think it'll result in 3rd and longs, and then the Jets punting deep in their own territory, giving the Eagles shorter fields. That's where I think the game is won ultimately for the Eagles. The Jets are going to try and run it because Breece Hall's very good. Breece Hall's got 387 rushing yards, 7.2 yards per carry. He ripped off a giant one last week against Denver. So he's a guy to be respected. But I think considering how good the Eagles have been, against the run. I don't see him running wild on the Eagles. I just don't.
I think Zach Wilson might be your leading rusher for the Jets this Sunday out of necessity because he's going to be running for his life. I think they're going to lock down Breece Hall. They're going to make the concerted effort to make sure Breece Hall does not get loose. And I think Zach Wilson will have to run a lot because I think if the Eagles bring the heat on him early, he's going to be looking to his right and to his left more so than he is straight ahead down the field trying to find a receiver. And that's when you have a quarterback at right where you want him. If you can get him to get out of his mental mechanism of, okay, this play is a 3-step drop, this play is a 5 or 7-step drop, because once you get to 3, 5, or 7, you've got opposite jerseys bearing down on you. It's going to mess up a lot in terms of continuity for that offense. Now, with the way the Eagles secondary plays receivers, if I'm the Jets offensive brain trust, Nathaniel Hackett, I'm shortening up all my receivers' routes this week. A.J. Brown has made a killing because DBs have so much respect for him that quick slant route that he runs is virtually unstoppable. I think that's the only measure of success the Jets may find in the passing game is to shorten up their passing routes. Quick slant routes, hitch routes, so on and so forth. Outside of that, they don't have a prayer this game. As good as that defense is, they don't have a prayer this game.
Yeah, let's go with the defense for a minute. So, points per game allowed, not bad. 21, it's 14th, not terrible. Derek, for as much talent as they have up front, teams are running all over them, man. They're picking up 146.2 yards per game on the ground. That's 29th in the NFL. And they're okay against the pass. They're 14th. I mean, it's for that much talent, the numbers are either mediocre or bad in a lot of ways. Now, they have Quinnen Williams, who's an absolute monster at defensive tackle. The guy is legit. I'm a big Jermaine Johnson fan. Liked him when he was coming out. Quincy Williams is really good. CJ Mosley's really good. They have Sauce Gardner. We talked about, whether or not DJ Reed's going to be able to go. And that's just to name a few. There's a lot of talent on that defense, but I think they're on the field a lot because the offense is a lot of 3 and outs, stalled drives, those kind of things. And maybe that's taking its toll a little bit because you would think, just from a number standpoint with the talent they have, that it'd be better than that.
I think Quinnen Williams is arguably the best D tackle in the game right now. His quickness off the burst, off the snap is impeccable. He is a nightmare by himself, but he can't win it by himself. And the Eagles do a great job of look at what they did against Aaron Donald in terms of taking out the best D lineman in games and making him a non-factor. I just think that when you look at the Jets' defensive numbers, I think it's a worn down defense, to be honest. I think they're on the field so much that basically, I don't care how good you are, if you can't get off the field, and if your offense is giving the ball back with a bunch of 3 and outs, eventually you're going to wear it down. And with this Eagles running attack, the Eagles are going to try to hit them with the run. And if they're successful with the run, as the numbers indicate, teams have been successful against the run with the run against this team, it's going to be a long day for this defense. It really is. And if DJ Reed doesn't play, that handcuffs them even further. I was just looking at the depth chart defensively. Just defensively, they have 6 players already on IR. 6 players on defense in terms of depth for this team. And they have one who's completely out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six players on this defense and a 4-3 defense that are on IR. DJ Reed is questionable. Brandon Echols is questionable. And Jarek Bernard Converse is out. He was a backup cornerback as well. So they've been hurt. They've been hurt everywhere. Even on offense, including Rodgers. There's 4 on offense that's on IR. You know how much that affects your depth when you thought you would have certain people, and now you're scrambling because you got to pull down practice squad players. Right. Or maybe get players that are sitting at home waiting for somebody to call you just to fill a void on the roster. So not only has the quarterback hurt them, but they have been decimated by injuries in a lot of cases.
Wow.
So as talented as this team is, it is such a flawed team because of the quarterback and because of the multitude of injuries that they've had. And so this season has been a nightmare for the Jets. And I do believe there's a certain mindset now within the Jets. Hey, we get paid to go out there and give our best effort. Let's do that. And they know when it gets to, you can feel when it gets to a certain point of a game when you're a player that things are just spiraling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the Jets, they go in there hoping for the best. But at a certain point of a game, it becomes a defeatist mentality because they know they don't have a prayer because the offense can't help them out on the defense.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, couple other things of note with them. I don't know if you're, let's say, Joe Douglas, or you could even maybe put Joe Douglas into this category. Do you feel like there's, like Robert Saleh, you almost have to throw it out whatever happens this year because of the injury to Rodgers, or do you think he's on a hot seat?
No, I think Rodgers being out buys him another year because, how many teams can go from an Aaron Rodgers to a legitimate backup in the National Football League?
Yeah.
There are a lot of teams that don't have legitimate backups, but they're backups because you got to fill the void somehow. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that should not be playing in the NFL. They're stealing money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them have made a career of being backups, a journeyman backup, making good 7-figure income for nothing, for the most part. I think when you look at Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, I think Joe Douglas has done his job in terms of drafting, bringing in certain free agents. And, of course, the big coup was pulling off the Aaron Rodgers deal. You don't have Rodgers. So basically you buy yourself at least another year because of that. And I think the Jets fan base is as vocal as they are and as frustrated as they are. They're smart enough to realize that without Aaron Rodgers, you're not going anywhere. We're not. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think there's only so much you can ask your defense to do. All right, we'll stop the other team. Take the ball away. Maybe potentially score. It's like, that works for a game. That works for a couple quarters if somebody goes down. But eventually that doesn't work over the long haul of a season. And it's just not going to work. I think this should be a game, Derek. If we continue to see the Eagles passing game grow the way it has the last 2 weeks, and as good as the Eagles have been in rushing the ball and as good as the Eagles defensive line is, it sets up to be a game that really shouldn't be that close. I just don't see it. I don't see how the Jets ultimately stay in this game long haul. I mean, are there some threats there? Yeah. Is Garrett Wilson a threat, a guy you got to worry about? Breece Hall, a guy you got to worry about? All these players we named on the defensive side? Yeah. Yeah, they're all good. But every team in the end, like, think about it from this standpoint. If you just go through who the Eagles played over the last, I don't know, take it back a couple of weeks. Washington's defensive tackles are excellent, right? And you still ran all over them. Tampa Bay has Vita Vea and those guys, and you still ran all over them. I don't worry about that part of it. I think the Eagles will figure it out. The Eagles will impose their will eventually. And you got guys up front like Lane Johnson and Kelsey and that crew, and Mailata's playing better. They'll be fine, and the beauty is Sua Opeta stepped in there very nicely for them.
Yes.
Played well.
And when you look at the takeaway giveaway department, which is so instrumental at times in the success or failure of the outcome of a game, the Jets actually have more takeaways than the Eagles do, 9-8. But the Jets have given the ball away 8 times compared to the Eagles 5. So the Jets, when they get the ball for the offense is giving it right back, which is even more demoralizing. Or the offense or the defense gives the ball to the offense and the offense can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
They're lucky if they get 3 points out of it, So that's why I say, it's a physical battle, but it's also a psychological war. And here we are at Wednesday, and the Jets and the Eagles already know that the decisive psychological advantage going into this game is with the Eagles because of the way the teams have played this year. There's no question. The Eagles hold the psychological edge in going up against this team because they have been anything but flawless. They're 5-0. The Jets have stumbled to 2-3. They're scraping just to get above water, at 2-3. And every week they know when they go up against an opponent that's just as good as them, the prospects of them winning that game are less than 50%.
Yep. Well said. Well said. Hey, good stat from Zach Berman, who does an excellent job covering the Birds. I want to make sure I'm crediting him right now. So Zach is now covers the Eagles for PHLY. Does a very good job with that. But so we talked about the Eagles' issues in the red zone, Derek. How about this? 0 touchdowns from the 11-yard line to the 20 for the Eagles this year. That's not
Eagles offense.
Man. That's surprising.
That's when I looked at the numbers on Monday. I was flabbergasted.
5 field goal attempts in that situation.
The Eagles had 46% efficiency in red zone scoring before the Rams game. They come out of the Rams game 2 for 6 in that department. So obviously that percentage goes down significantly. This is not that Eagles between the 20 scoring team that we expected. Yet it's a team that's still putting up 28, 30 points a game. Yeah. Just to show you how good they are. They can score from anywhere on the field. Right. But when you play those better teams and you get inside that 20, you better be able to come away with 7s instead of 3s. Because that other team with a potent offense like the Kansas Cities, the Miamis, the Buffaloes, they can walk down the field. Let's face it, this is not a shutdown Eagles defense.
No, it is very much not that. You're going to have to score. Your offense is going to have to score this year. Yeah.
So you got 3 or 4 opponents that can walk down the field. Hey, Washington walked down the field on them in a little over a minute and scored a game.
Scored with a second left or whatever it was. Yeah.
They're gonna have to put up some points. And when I say points, I don't mean 3s. You got to put up 7s to put pressure on your opposition, whether you're playing them in your house or their house.
Yeah.
This getting 3s is going to come back and bite them somewhere.
I agree. 100% it's going to bite them. And if you look at it, Derek, according to Zach, last season they scored 6 touchdowns from that area and attempted 8 field goals all year. The Eagles are already at 5 through 5 games.
Right,
so, all right, if I asked you what troubles you the most from through 5 games, would you put that there, or would you say, and you can fill in the blank whatever one you want too, but is it that, or is it still the passing defense, which did a nice job in the second half against the Rams, mind you? But what's most troubling for you from what you've seen through 5 games?
Oh, still the pass defense.
Okay,
there's no question it's the pass defense. You have 2 Pro Bowl caliber corners out there who are 30 and 32, 33 years of age. You're mixing in a bunch of new guys. Reed Blankenship has played well for this defense, but you're also incorporating a lot of kids. If one goes down, look at what you're doing. You're bringing up guys, Eli Ricks, Goodrich, even Justin Jefferson, who's played well at times. They're still young players. They're still learning. Now you've had to bring in another player off the street in Bradley Roby to try to help, calm that down. Right. I think the pass defense for me is still the most frustrating aspect of this Eagles team right now through 5 games.
Because isn't part of that too, you feel like offensively they'll figure that out. Like there's too much talent there for them to not get going, in the red zone in terms of cashing touchdowns. With the defense right now, Bradley Roby helped, but is he ultimately the answer? They still have a lot of inexperience back there, on the back end. That's where I look at the defense a lot more sort of, in question than I do with the offense. I think the offense, it'll come. I don't like what I've seen, but it'll come. With the defense, I don't know that it's going to get dramatically better on the back end.
I don't think it will, but what do you expect? The only thing we can hope for is a similar situation that Kansas City went through last year. Mm-hmm. Kansas City played a bunch of kids on the back end of their defense and still found a way to win 14 games because of that man named Mahomes and because of the offensive structure they had. They weren't shutting people down. It was an opportunistic defense. And so far, this Eagles defense has been an opportunistic defense, a key turnover when it needs it, a key sack when it needs it. It's not a shutdown defense as we've seen through 5 games. When you look at the teams they've played through 5 games, they haven't played an offensive juggernaut yet.
Okay.
Even the Rams are an evolving offense with the new young kids there. And of course, they didn't have Cooper Kupp for 4 of those games,
No, Derek, you're right. So think about it from this standpoint. Once you get past the Jets, okay, you're talking about Miami, arguably the best offense in football, right?
Yep.
A Washington team that put up
31 points.
31. Dallas. I know they're coming off a bad loss, but still. Kansas City, Buffalo, San Fran, Dallas again, Seattle.
Yeah.
So you're going to get literally 7 weeks, 8 weeks straight of either really good offenses or an offense that put up a lot of points against you.
Yep.
So if that defense isn't necessarily great, which neither one of us think is, and we don't think it's great defense, good, really strong defensive line, but your offense is going to have to be really good. It's a good thing they're progressing here because they're going to need to be on the money.
Yeah, they've had to muddle their way through 5 games in terms of figuring out what they need to do. The passing game wasn't there. All of a sudden, the last 2 games, it is there. They're controlling the clock. They're chewing defenses up, running the game, running the ball with authority. And they're still not where they want to be as an offense yet. 4 consecutive games, they put up over 415 yards of offense, being flawed. I'll take that. Give me that every day until they figure it out. But the competition does get stiffer, a whole lot stiffer over a stretch of games that's much bigger than the stretch of games they're going through right now, including the Jets.
Absolutely.
Better figure it out now. Figure it out now. Get it right.
Agreed. All right, let's come back. We'll set our sights on the Phillies. We know it's Bryce Elder. We know Bryce Elder will be going against Aaron Nola. We'll talk about this game. We'll preview this game and where this series is headed and how critical this game is, certainly to whichever team wants to survive and get to the NLCS. We'll discuss it all when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this Wednesday Sports Take. All right, Pro Action Restoration. Yes, Pro Action Restoration. If you have a home, you have a business, property that you own, and you go through the pain, the inconvenience, the unknowing, fire, water, smoke, mold damage. You're saying to yourself, I don't know how to clean this up. I don't know how to fix this. I got to make sure this is right. Is it livable? You reach out to Pro Action Restoration because that's what they do. And they're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. So you have issues in the middle of the night. You have issues on a holiday. You have issues early in the morning, whatever the case may be, a Saturday. Reach out to them because they're always available. And I did on a Saturday, in fact. And they got right over to my parents' house, cleaned up the place. Crew was professional, clean. The price was very reasonable. It was a great experience all around. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So it can be any of these and then some: water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation. But if there's something else you're not sure about, just feel free to reach out and give them a call. 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let JAKIB Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call JAKIB Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
My name is Dr. Bruce Grossinger, and I'm the medical director of Philadelphia PRP and Stem Cell Institute. I'm reaching out to those who suffer from spine and joint pain. We use treatment methods that require no surgery, no scalpel, no drugs.
Running, walking, or whatever your desires are, Dr. Grossinger is where you need to come.
You can benefit from the same PRP and stem cell treatment as Wilbert Montgomery. Call us now at 610-222-5675.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com. EAGLES, Eagles.
Back, better. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis hanging out with you. Wednesday of the month of October. October 11th already, man. Crazy. Crazy. But it is warmer today in our area, Derek. It's kind of chilly. Not necessarily nice the last couple of days, but we're supposed to get a little run here of nice days. So enjoy it, man. Soak it up while you got it, because I know how much you like the warm weather. We do have a little bit left.
Slowly fading away. Slowly fading.
Yeah. Phillies 5:07 start time tonight or today, depending on how you view 5:07. If the Dodgers get swept, Derek, if they lose tonight, the game tomorrow between the Phillies and the Braves gets pushed to 8:07.
Oh.
Okay, so you got the later start. Well, they'll be the only National League Series, still going at that point.
What time was the game supposed to start?
6:07.
6:07. Okay.
Yeah, initially, yeah. So that'll be pushed back. First pitch, Raul Ibanez and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro will throw out the first pitch of the game. Jim Tomey's daughter, Lila, will sing "God Bless America" during the game. That's pretty cool.
That's
Tomey's
cool.
daughter. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the momentum thing. We talked about Aaron Nola last 3 starts. Okay. I didn't give you these numbers. So with men on base, he has a 289 batting average against and an 816 OPS. With nobody on, he's got a 240 batting average against and 708 OPS. So, with Nola, there is a dramatic difference with runners on and runners not on. Certainly the pitch clock comes into play for him because he was a very deliberate guy, Derek. Like when he was 30 seconds longer to the plate with a runner on, just in terms of walking around the mound and, rosin bag and all stepping off and all that stuff. You can't do that now.
Right.
So that's going to be something that's a key. Atlanta's going to want to get base runners on early in this thing. Obviously, they want base runners on, period, but especially because of Nola and the way that he struggles with base runners on. So that's going to be a big key here to this game is Nola starting off well. If you weren't with us earlier, Bryce Elder will get the start for the Braves. Bryce Elder this season started off really, really well for the Braves, but he cooled off. And mentioned this to you earlier, 5.75 ERA in 14 starts after the All-Star break. He was a first-time All-Star this year, and they went with him. But yeah, he will get the nod. So his last appearance versus the Phillies, overall he was 12-4 with a 3.81 ERA.
Yep,
and 100. That's good numbers.
Breakouts. Yep.
Last appearance versus the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park was June 22nd. He allowed 3 hits over 7 scoreless innings, and he struck out 6. Now, when the Phillies faced him in Atlanta, September 20th, he allowed 4 runs in 3 2/3 innings, was knocked out of the game early and walked 5. So this is a toss-up, what you're going to get out of Elder. As much as we're concerned about Nola, Atlanta doesn't have much of an idea. They basically named him about an hour and a half ago to be the starter. That's telling you a lot.
Well, in the scuttlebutt is, so they chose Elder, or instead of a bullpen opener, or either the rookie, AJ Smith-Shawver, Elder, I guess because of his big game experience. I'm hoping the Phillies get to see that September 20th version of Elder, because what he did back in June against this lineup was eye-opening, but they're in the Phillies ballpark. And I wonder why. It can be because of gamesmanship, because you have the book, and whoever they're stepping to the hill, both teams have the book on every pitcher. So why did you wait so long before
the gamesmanship thing is silly, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not catching them off guard. It's not like you're going to have to make major adjustments, to face Elder on the hill tonight. You still have How many hours, Rob? How many hours away from the first pitch?
So we have 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 4.5 hours. Yes.
Do you have like a running clock by you or something? What do you have over there?
I all I did was look at my cell phone and just do the quick math, man. It was 5:07 start, and it's 12:37-ish right now. So
the Phillies still have over 4 hours to prepare and go over the books once again.
Yeah.
You know, they get to the ballpark early, probably already there, getting ready for BP and stuff. They got the book on what his best pitches are. Is he a low ball pitcher? Does he like to get up in the strike zone? Be patient if he's up in the strike zones. They got a book on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Braves know Nola well. There's no secrets at this point of a season. It's just going out and executing. Hopefully they can jump on Elder early and really shake up Atlanta's bullpen.
That would be huge. Yeah, if you can get into their pen early for sure. And then all that does is the crowd just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Terry brings something up here that's interesting. Hoffman never gets in again. Well, yeah. So here's what I'd be curious. I'm not going to go as far as saying he never gets in again, but I'm curious. You like that? Okay. So dope came. Hope. All right. I gave you a little bit. I can only do 3. I injured myself in the last one, so I that's the best I could do. I think you won't see Hoffman. This is just my opinion. We asked Greg Murphy about this yesterday, and he said he would absolutely go back to him in a high leverage. I don't know that we'll see Hoffman today in a high leverage spot.
You don't think so?
Don't know.
Why not?
I don't think so. I think he's a little gun shy because he gave the home run up. And now there's certainly no crime in giving up a home run to Austin Riley, who is a phenomenal player. It happens. It happens. But I do wonder a little bit about that one. There's something to keep your eye on late in the games. I think, he's definitely dead set on either Alvarado, I would guess if it's a close game, Alvarado or Kimbrel closes, depending on the matchups in the 8th and the 9th. Beyond that, it is a little bit up in the air, though.
All right. If you had to pluck it out of the sky, who are you going to first out of the bullpen if Nola gets in trouble? Who's coming in first for you?
Boy. See, I worry about Sir Anthony too. And I worry about Soto. Let me put it to you this way. If it's before the 6th inning, I think you will see Hoffman. If it's before the 6th inning, it could be Strom.
Yeah.
If it's after the 7th or 7th inning, I think you're going to see a combination of Alvarado, Kimbrel, and Sir Anthony.
Okay.
That's what I think 7, 8, 9 looks like to some degree, would be my guess.
Okay.
Some of that, like with Strom, it's if there's a bunch of lefties coming up, whatever. If it's Hoffman, if it's righties. But yeah, I mean, this can't be a Nola 4-inning affair. It can't. With this team, man, you got away with that in game 1, and Rob Thompson pushed all the right buttons in game 1, but you cannot get away with that again with a very short outing out of your starter and expect the bullpen to give you 6, 7 innings or 5 innings of no run ball. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's not happening. But here's the thing too, though, Derek. One of the things that Rob Thompson said when they clinched was this team's built for the postseason. I buy that. Like, I think Harper's built for the postseason. I wouldn't surprise me one bit if Schwarber goes yard. He's due for one. I think Turner will bounce back after what he ended up doing. Stott has been excellent, the whole way. Real Muto's hitting. He had a 2-run shot the other night, and he's been better at home hitting. So I think they'll be okay. I do.
Oh, I do too. But can you imagine if Atlanta jumps them early and take that crowd out of the game?
Ooh.
Can you imagine if that crowd is sitting on his hands for most of this game? I hope that doesn't happen. But again, we can say what we want to say about Atlanta. They're a very talented team. I do think the Phillies have the edge in pitching because Atlanta's pitching department has been nicked up by injuries, so on and so forth. But if Atlanta's on top of a pitcher early and they start putting some distance between themselves and the Phillies early, you take that 10th man element out of the game at Citizens Bank Park, that's a different kind of ball game.
That's a great point because the raucous crowd cuts both ways. It either works in your favor, obviously, and it did last year. But you're right. You jump on the Phillies early and that place gets quiet. and or Nola doesn't pitch well and he starts hearing maybe some boo birds, it totally goes the other way. You're right. No, I don't think there's any question about that. Like, it's going to be a fever pitch to start the game. And if the Phillies get something going here, there can definitely be a carryover for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
But big if, man, big if in this game. But I think it's going to be one of those games where I feel good. I feel good. So Nola in 6 career playoff starts, 3.86 ERA. It's pretty solid, and they've won 4 of those games.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But I don't need Nola just to be good early. I need Nola to give me at least 7.
Yes.
Give me at least 6 1/3, please. 6 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want them to have to go deep into their bullpen in a game like this, because Atlanta's mindset is all we needed to do is win 1, and we go back home for that last game. That's all they got to do is win 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they find a way to win tonight, see, right now the pressure's still on Atlanta because they have to face 2 games here in Philly, and they remember what happened here last year.
100%.
If they somehow find a way to get this game tonight, all of a sudden the weight of that pressure shifts on the home team. All of the weight, not part of the weight, all of the weight shifts to the home team, because then it's do or die for that home team.
I know the momentum thing right now is weird, right? Because the Phillies ultimately achieved their goal. They got 1 in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
So you have a 3-game series with 2 games in Philly. So just looking at it that way, it's definitely advantage Phillies. But when you lose in a gut punch way like they lost in game 2, it just doesn't have that same feel right now. You know what I mean? I think that's why I said ultimately once the game starts, then I think the Phillies settle in a little bit and they realize, okay, that game's done with and we're in front of our crazies right now, and here we go. But you're right. Normally coming out of that thing with a split, you're feeling great. But the way that game ended, like I almost would have rather they lost like 8-4 and it wasn't even competitive than to lose that way. But yeah, I mean, it's, you ultimately Atlanta's got, so the way it sets up, you're going to have game 4. Phillies haven't announced who's pitching game 4 yet. Likely Suarez, but not 100%. Atlanta's going to go with Strider. Like, they're coming back with him. After
you think they'll come back with him if Atlanta loses tonight?
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I mean, he'll be on normal rest too. He pitched Saturday. You're not bumping.
What if Atlanta wins? Do you push him back to a potential game 5?
Oof.
Give him an extra day?
I don't, because you got to keep winning.
I get it, but I'd rather have him pitch in my ballpark than their ballpark. If it comes down to a game 5 and Strider, you got to play that. You got to play the odds. Let's face it. In baseball, you play the odds.
Yes.
Who's had more success on that Atlanta pitching staff than Strider against this Phillies lineup? Nobody. So in a deciding game 5,
so you're saying if the Braves win,
tonight,
you would go with Strider in 5 rather than tomorrow for the kill shot and put him away.
Yeah, just in case.
I'm going for the kill shot. I'm trying to finish.
Look at their options for game 5. You got Fried with the blister.
I know.
How concerned are you about him in a game 5? You don't have.
I would be highly concerned. Look, this is the problem they have. They only have one really dependable guy right now. That's part of their big issue.
Yeah, you don't have Charlie Morton.
No. So, Morton's out. Morton cannot pitch in this series. I know. I see. I'm taking my chances with Strider that I don't even have to go back to Atlanta and play another game.
Okay,
if I'm the Braves. But it's a fascinating point. They haven't announced anybody. Atlanta hasn't. That's just my surmise. I'm guessing that they would go with Strider.
You know what that tells me? They're scratching their heads like, what do we do here?
Yeah, and they have the young kid waiting in the wings, AJ Smith Shawver, who has 5 starts under his belt, 7 home runs, 14 runs allowed, 23 innings pitched. He hasn't faced the Phillies.
Wait, how many starts?
5.
7 home runs allowed in 5 starts. That's not good. Ooh.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, the only advantage you get, and it's a minor one, is the Phillies don't have familiarity with him really, other than looking at tape.
Right.
Sometimes that helps a young pitcher, but yeah, it just tells you. I mean, they're having they Kyle Wright done for the season. Morton banged up.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, the kid Smith Shawver is oh my God, he's 20 years old.
Jeez. And you're going to put him on a stage like that at 20 against this lineup?
God. He doesn't turn 21 until November.
Jeez.
Oh,
my goodness.
Oh boy. Yeah. Man. All right. Yeah. Although he's pitched, he's 1-0 with a 4.26 ERA in those 5 starts, but he has a penchant for giving up home runs. Like he gave up multi-home runs in 3 of those starts. Yeah. So it's interesting. It is interesting.
That's a lot to ask of an untested 20-year-old.
Isn't it, man? Oof.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
But it just tells you the kind of, like, the Dodgers are in a very similar spot. Everybody's banged up. Urias is suspended. Kershaw got tuned up in the first game.
Yep. Dodgers
are in trouble too.
Ooh.
It's a big baseball night tonight. You have the Phillies at 5:07, Houston and the Twins at 7:07, and then 9:07 is the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So you're a baseball fan. You got a lot of action tonight.
I'm telling you, and I'll be peeking around. There's no question about that. I just love playoff baseball, period. And like I said earlier in the show, when you look at the wealth of talent that's still standing in the postseason right now on all the teams, incredible matchups, pitching versus hitting, fielding teams, so on and so forth, perennial all-star players all over the place. You got the defending champ still standing. You've got the World Series runner-up still standing. It's just a great time to be a baseball fan right now.
All right, let me flip it back to the Birds and ask you this. I thought Sunday was a game we really saw Sean Desai shine. With some of the things that he did, the adjustments that he made. They weren't afraid to put Roby in the slot, and they pitched a shutout in the second half. Was this sort of his, like, announcement to the world? His first time he's really gotten on our radar? Because we haven't talked about him a ton, I would say. We definitely concentrate more, it feels like, on the offensive side with Brian Johnson. Was this coming of age moment for you? For Sean Desai, with the way the defense adjusted and did a really good job on Sunday in LA?
That's a really good question. I would have to lean towards yes, because he identified that the passing game was chewing him up. They brought a guy in off the street. They wait until the second half to insert him. They put him on a guy who's really killing him in Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp was a non-factor in the second half. So I would have to say, in terms of adjustments, the Rams game was the best by far of Desai's short tenure here in Philadelphia. No question about that. And hopefully we continue to see that. The adjustments he's going to have to make coming up are going to be incredible. Defending Mahomes, Tua, Josh Allen, Geno Smith. They're going to be incredible on how he does it. And so hopefully we're starting to see the slow ascend of what Sean Desai is capable of doing. And again, I'm like the Eagles. I don't overlook any opponent, but I think this is going to be really a dull evaluation.
Right.
Of what the Eagles are not this Sunday against the Jets, because I just don't think the Jets have enough to make this a nail-biter type game like they were in with Washington and Minnesota and in previous games like that. I don't at this point.
The other thing I thought was interesting, and this is going to be music to Eagles fans' ears, was I think he blitzed 30% of the time in the game. He was not afraid to call a blitz up. That's a bit of a departure from what Gannon did. And now Gannon blitzed a decent amount, actually, believe it or not, in the Super Bowl. But that's a pretty healthy number for a defense that doesn't usually do a ton of that.
Yeah, I'll take that. And let's face it, their blitz has been very effective for the most part. I like to see teams attack. I don't like to see them sitting back in zone coverages and letting teams just, letting good receivers find holes in a soft defense and just working their way down the field. I want to see I love defenses that force the issue, that force quarterbacks to make decisions sooner than they want to, that make quarterbacks very uncomfortable. And I think Sean Desai has done a really good job of that. We heard him say in his press conference before the season, well, I'm not big on blitzing. I think he's blitzed more in the last couple of games than I ever thought he would, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been effective when it had to be.
Yeah, and I think he's got a tougher job, certainly, than, in my opinion, than Johnson does. I mean, with the amount of new pieces on that side of the ball, trying to get it to all come together, I think he's got a way bigger challenge in front of him.
Yeah, there's no question about it. The offense is self-contained, and we see that. We see that. We sit here and we try to find things to critique about the offense, and yet the offense finds its measure of success.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is more of an open story because of the inconsistency. If you're like me, Rob, when you're watching the games, I'm also watching social media. And
Nice.
Social media, Eagles fans on social media is all over the board. It's like a roller coaster ride, man. They're cheering a big play. All of a sudden, fire this guy. They're too old. They're too slow. We can't do this anymore. What is the side thinking of this? Why didn't he do this? And all of a sudden, hey, we got it done. The final analysis. It's all over the place. But that's understandable. We knew this going in. We knew this was going to be the case. I thought the defense would gel a little bit more by this point of a season.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier this week, and I believe I said it last week, I think this past defense is going to be suspect all season long.
I do too. Yeah. It's the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, Blankenship's done a really nice job, but Blankenship's very young. Whomever's been lined up beside him, it's been kind of a revolving door. Slay and Bradbury, let's face it, aren't the same players. I mean, they're still good, but they're not great shutdowns. You've been searching for that nickel corner, and you used Bradley Roby there, but the guy was literally on the street, 2 weeks ago. And your linebacking core, and they've done a nice job. We talked about it earlier, and if you didn't hear, Nakobe Dean is practicing now, and he could return as early as Sunday, but Morrow and Cunningham are limited to some degree. So you're short a little bit beyond the defensive line. You're a little shy of talent on the back end compared to teams like San Francisco and, maybe Dallas, even the team like the Jets. You don't have the same level of overall talent that those teams have.
The good thing, though, is we've seen levels of surprises and improvements. Jalen Carter has been a consistent stud in the trenches. Yeah. Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow have filled in admirably, both in the middle and the outside. Reed Blankenship has been rock solid when he's been there. Justin Evans, when he was healthy, showed signs of being a good one to come. The defense as a whole has 8 turnovers. They've made plays of necessity when they've had to, whether it's turnovers or sacks. It's not complete, but it's not totally unraveling as well. It can stand its ground when it has to. It's been rock solid. Let's face it, it's been rock solid across the board against the run. So it's shown signs of being better than worse, but there's still the one glaring problem of if they can't get home against quarterbacks, and you're going to play some better quarterbacks, then the back end of that defense is a problem. Yeah. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way this team here's how this team wins games. They have to score a good amount of points for sure. And their defensive line is going to have to get pressure on the quarterback. If opposing quarterbacks are left with a lot of time, the Eagles are going to be in trouble. It's just that simple. And for the most part, the Eagles defensive line has done a nice job. I don't think they've really exploded yet because we haven't seen Brandon Graham, with a high sack total. We haven't seen Josh Sweat's been good, but the sacks will come. I believe that. Reddick, it's starting to come now. 3 in the last 2 games. It's been there for Carter. So yeah, I mean, that's how they have to win. They're not going to be a team that I don't think you're going to see a lot of like 10-7. You don't see many of them in the NFL anymore anyway, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of that with the Eagles, period.
No, and I hate to say it, I don't know if you'll see a double-digit sack total from a Brandon Graham this year, considering how they're playing him. You look at the percentage that he's playing. He's fine with the percentage, but I think it takes him a little while to get cranked up, and get in the groove, and that's understandable. And I don't think he'll be as effective in a sack total as he was a year ago. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't. What is he playing, like 20-something% of the snaps?
Something like that, yeah.
Which I thought he played 32% last year. Now it's down to 20-something, and they could have used him, during the season with the multitude of injuries they've had. But here he is at 22-something% of the snaps. I get it. But I still think he can be effective out there in terms of being able to see things and relaying that information when offenses step to the line of scrimmage. And I do think he's going to have that quick burst at 35. He's still going to have that quick burst when needed. But they've decided to go full bore with Reddick and Josh Sweat playing the multitude of the snaps. Even Derek Barnett's snaps are limited. I'm surprised with that. That Barnett's been limited. He's not injured. I thought he would play a little bit more than he's played, but decided I want these two guys out there as much as possible, and I can't argue against that when you look at the numbers they put up last year.
And I wouldn't look. I can't speak to why Barnett isn't getting the snaps. I think they want to preserve BG for later in the year. I think that's a big part of it, at his age. So, it's definitely something to watch. All right, let's come back, Derek. Let's talk NFL. Because we're going to do our power rankings for the top 5 teams in the league. Oh yeah. And we will also dip into some of the injuries out there, some trades, a lot going on, as always, as there always is in the league. So we'll do that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face, and they are just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees. They serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, as well as northern Delaware. You can go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
D Gun, R.
Yo.
Ellis, Sports Take. What's up, Gunner?
Living in your world, brother. That's all I'm doing.
Hey, man, we're having fun. We're rolling into hour number 3 of the program already. Time flies when you're having fun. I know who's not having fun. The Indianapolis Colts. This is not good. Anthony Richardson out 4 to 6 weeks with that shoulder injury, and they're going to give it a little bit of time to see how it's healing up. And there's a possibility he could have to have surgery on that shoulder. So that's a tough blow. He had gotten off to a nice start in his career, and the Colts as a team have definitely overachieved, considering some of the issues they had to start the season. I mean, lack of talent, the whole Jonathan Taylor thing, although now he's back in the fold, but it looked like they were going to be one of the worst teams in football. They're not. Richardson in 4 games, completing almost 60% of his passes, 577 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been sacked 7 times and an 87.3 passer rating, which, all things considered for a rookie quarterback are pretty good numbers, Derek.
There's no question. But, now that he's out, Rob, I don't think they're really in a bad place with Minshew, to be honest with you. You look at what they've been able to achieve up to this point, okay? Now, they beat an up-and-coming Houston team. They caught them at the right time. They beat Baltimore in overtime at Baltimore. They went to overtime again the next week and lost to the Rams. And then they turned around and beat a Tennessee team nobody thought that they could beat. Now, if Minshew's under center, and they're going to ramp up, I just saw a report saying they're ramping up Jonathan Taylor's workload for this week. If you look at their schedule, Rob, if they continue to play the way they're playing, at Jacksonville, Cleveland at home, Saints at home, Carolina at Carolina versus New England versus Tampa, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Right? They can have a winning record, and they can be right there at the end for the division title.
Very possible. Yeah, very possible. I mean, look, they have a really good 1-2 punch now that Taylor's back, and Zach Moss has played well. For them. So even though they don't have a lot of passing options necessarily, those 2 guys have been very good for them. And you point out they have a good defense. I like some of their offensive linemen, Quentin Nelson, some of those guys.
Yep.
This has a potential to be fixed pretty quickly there in Indianapolis. Get Richardson a couple of weapons in the offseason to be able to throw to, and they could be a problem, pretty quickly.
Shane Steichen has done an incredible job with a limited roster of talent and starting a rookie quarterback as well. And they're 3 up and 2 down and right there at the top of their division through 5 games where nobody thought they would be at this point. They're playing. This is a season they're playing with house money. And right now they've got more money in their pockets than they're dishing out, when you consider what they have. It was a great pickup by Steichen to get Gardner Minshew there, who already knew his system and his offensive concepts. You had a defense. You walked into a place with a good defensive nucleus. And you've taken your limited amount of pass catchers because you've been able to establish a game. Your marginal pass catchers have not been a glaring weakness on your team. If anything, it's helped your passing game because teams are so concerned about your running game, and especially now that Jonathan Taylor's going to be back there with Moss. And you look at the schedule. Their schedule is not a stressful schedule. They can compete with most of the teams on that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest,
I agree with you. Yeah, he kudos to him. He's done a very good job for sure. All right, beyond that, we saw this coming because he's been totally phased out. But Van Jefferson gets traded from the Rams to the Falcons. He was a guy who started off his career very well, looked like he was, on track, and then he's been hurt. The production hasn't necessarily been there. You don't see nearly as much from him anymore, or didn't see nearly as much the last year or so, or whatever. Even with Kupp out, he didn't do much, and that's where Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell really shined. So they end up moving him to the Falcons.
Well, the thing is, before the Rams game, we were talking about. I was shocked. He only had 8 catches through 4 games, and I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't that long ago. He was an emerging primary target for Stafford out there with the Rams, and all of a sudden, these 22-year and 23-year-old kids surpassed him, even without Cooper Kupp in the fall. You would think he's the veteran. He's been there. But obviously, Sean McVay identified something early with these young kids that Jefferson didn't have, and he moved on from it. Great pickup for Atlanta. No question about that. Great pickup for them. But when you look at what Atlanta got in return, what the Rams got in return from him, it just tells you that let's get him out of here. Let's move him out of here and just move on. They didn't get a whole lot for him in return.
No, it was basically he wasn't going to do anything here. He was going to be deactivated. We were eventually maybe going to cut him. I don't know, but and you get something in return. But it's get some money off the books. That's all. Yeah. All right. So he gets traded. This has been unbelievable, Derek. The back and forth with the Cowboys and the Niners since the beatdown Sunday night. So if you saw Kittle had a big game, but the one touchdown that he scored, he pulls his jersey up, and I'm not going to repeat what the T-shirt said, but bleep the Cowboys. You get the gist of it, right? So he does that, and then Micah Parsons is on his podcast, which he does. Decides he's got to fire back, saying, "Hey, I like Kittle, but." This thing got personal and this and that. And, anyway, so then Debo goes on up and Adams with Kay Adams and, basically says, careful what you wish for if you want us back, because it could be worse the next time than the 42-10 smackdown that we put on you. So this is fun. This is fun. Sit there and look, eat some popcorn while I'm watching all this go down.
When will players learn, especially those who are on the short end of an embarrassment, to just take your lumps and move on and live to fight another day? Don't say anything. If you meet him again, then, you let your actions do the talking. You would think Michael Parsons, I understand, you're a phenomenal player and you're speaking on behalf of your team. You don't like being, disrespected the way that, George Kittle disrespected you with that T-shirt. But hey, did you not remember what the game looked like? Did you not remember that your vaunted defense got railroaded for 42 points? Mm-hmm. Did you not remember that? So don't pick now, because a lot can happen. Dallas might not even make the playoffs the way they're playing.
Yep.
Okay. Number one. Number two, you got holes in your defense. Okay. You're not as good. Hey, Micah, you're not as good as the 49ers. They just showed you that on Sunday night. You have a long ways to go. Your quarterback is not even as good as Brock Purdy. You got a long ways to go. Mm-hmm. And you jaw-jacking with George Kittle, who just helped put a smackdown on you people? Really?
Yeah.
You need to worry about the next game instead of worrying about if you see them down the road in the future. Because you're not ready. Dallas, you ain't ready.
Yeah.
You got problems.
I hear you, man. But this is one to monitor, because I don't think Micah or Debo are going to bite their lip. Like this will continue to escalate. So it'll be interesting, to say the least, how that plays out. Speaking of the Cowboys, they'll play Monday night against the Chargers, who are coming off a bye week. And they'll be getting Austin Eckler back. He said there's a 99% chance he'll play. He feels good. We know what a dual threat he is. So that'd be an interesting game. You wonder how the Cowboys bounce back from getting smoked the way that they did. And then the Chargers are impossible to ever read. You never know if they're going to show up or not show up.
I couldn't agree with you more. Again, my history with the Chargers.
Yeah.
They always have the potential, and they always find a way to falter. Here they are sitting at 2-2 right now. I don't know what to make of this Chargers team, to be honest. Now, if anything, Dallas is licking its wounds right now. I believe that game is in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Dallas, you have a lot to prove. You're right now, you're 2 games behind the Eagles. And after Monday night, you could be 3 behind, because nobody expects the Eagles to lose to the Jets. So through 6 games, you could be 3 behind already with 11 to play. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be an interesting game, because Justin Herbert is very talented. He has weapons. That defense is pretty good.
Yep.
Dak Prescott is under a lot of fire again. For his ineptitude.
3 interceptions. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to want to come out and make a good showing on the Monday night platform. I can't wait to see this one. I really can't.
I'm with you, man. Hey, Twiz has a good question, Derek.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen any of our Cowboys weasels in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Where that giant rock where they all reside under, occasionally it gets flipped over and then they all scurry out. I guess nobody flipped the rock over this week, right? It must be what it is.
You know where they are? They're probably on a psychiatrist's couch getting therapy, or they're curled up on a couch or in their beds, hugging a pillow, with a pacifier, trying to figure out what has happened to their team through 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. I mean, on paper, you guys look pretty good coming out of the gate. But did you forget you still had Dak Prescott quarterback in your team and Mike McCarthy calling your plays? And obviously it has showed through 5 games, just how, I can't say average, a little above average, the Cowboys are, because Cowboys do have talent on their team.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got embarrassed on national TV. And all of a sudden, the Cowboy fans are nowhere to be found. They're all in the witness protection program. I promise you this, though. If they beat the Chargers on Monday night, we'll see them back again next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see them back again.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. All right. Beyond that, a lot of injury issues here. Buffalo loses 2 big pieces, Matt Milano and Daquan Jones. They got Von Miller back, but that's 2 big blows there to that defense. So this is going to, you wonder, you look at Buffalo and is it going to be a matter of just them having to outshoot teams too with some of these injuries that they're dealing with? That's tough. They had a real setback this past week, did Buffalo. They were playing excellent football, but there were 2 real pieces they just lost right there.
Their defense is nicked up, but I do still think they have enough personnel to be a pretty good defense if that offense continues to play like it did against Miami, not like it did against Jacksonville. If they do, Buffalo will take care of its business and still control that AFC East.
Yeah.
They can't afford to lose many more because Ed Oliver got nicked up in the last game. He was out for a while. I don't know what his status is for the upcoming game, but you lose Ed. If they have Ed Oliver and Von Miller in the trenches on that defense, you're still in a pretty good shape. Mm-hmm. With Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde on the back end, you're still in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. So TJ Watt, this doesn't appear to be anything real serious, but we know sometimes this can hamper guys. Hassan Reddick being an example, but he's got a dislocated finger that's got torn ligaments in it. He's going to put a splint on it, tape it up. He'll play. They have a bye week, so it gets him a little bit of time of healing. But that doesn't appear to be anything too serious as far as he goes.
TJ Watt is the kind of player you have to put him in a straitjacket to keep him off a field.
Yeah,
I think he would become the closest of any player in today's game to doing what a Ronnie Lott did. If it got to a point, he cut off a digit to get out there in the football field and play the game. That dude was born to play football. Him and his brother, JJ, were born to play football. TJ Watt, if he's medically cleared, will get out there, and I promise you one thing. He will have at least 1 sack. The fact that he has like 85.5 sacks through 7 seasons, 6+ seasons, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he lost a significant portion of last season because of a season-ending injury. That dude's phenomenal. You're not keeping him off the football field unless you strap him down, take his helmet and his shoulder pads and hide him. Be honest.
Yeah. All right. Couple other odds and ends here. The Giants are without Daniel Jones and Darren Waller in practice today. Daniel Jones dealing with the neck. In fact, Brian Dable said it's a little more sore today than it was yesterday. Not a good sign.
Understandable.
Yeah, Waller's dealing with that hamstring issue, which he every time wants to tell you it's no big deal. But, we'll see. Those 2 guys out for the Giants right now. It doesn't mean they're not going to play Sunday. I'm just saying they're out of practice today.
And who are the Giants playing Sunday?
Giants are playing the Bills at the Bills.
Yeah, Steve. I'm Darren Waller. I'm thinking, hey, look, man. When I got out of bed this morning, this injury felt kind of good, but all of a sudden I tweaked it. I don't know if I can go. Wait a minute, Darren. It's only Wednesday. Yeah, but I know my body. I don't know if I can be out there Sunday. I don't think I can make it this week, Coach.
I got you.
I'm just giving you a heads up so you can call somebody up on the practice squad. I'm just telling you, man. I'm being real with you. I don't know if I can make it this week.
Yeah. Well, that one, I'll tell you what, I think they're already done But they lose this week and they go to what are they now? 1-4?
1-4, yeah.
They go to 1-5, man. I mean, it is done. I mean, they'll be 1-5 and they still have to play at the Cowboys. They have to play at New Orleans. They have to play at the Eagles. They have to play at the Rams. They play the Eagles again. I mean, I know they've gone through already the pretty difficult part of the schedule. Like they played San Fran and Seattle and Miami, and they'll play Buffalo this week. I get it. It's a little bit easier, but they're already screwed. I mean, if they lose this game and the Eagles win, Eagles are 6-0 and they're 1-5. Their playoff chances are done.
Oh, and the thing is, they're not only losing, Rob, they're getting shellacked. I mean, they've given up in their 5 games, they've given up 40, 31, 30, 24, 31 points. And now you're going to play a Buffalo team that's ticked off that they lost to Jacksonville, and you got to play them. Oh, my goodness. And they're the Sunday night game also. Oh, man, this is going to be like, this is going to be it, man. This is like implosion city on Sunday night.
Yeah.
You know, Saquon, you don't know if he's playing. Daniel Jones, neck injury. Darren Waller, if he let's look at it. Let me look at this depth chart. So if Jones is out, Tyrod Taylor, well, he'll be running for his life. He could probably play. Matt Breida,
and the line stinks, but yeah, it will be.
Matt Breida is okay. He's an okay runner, but I think he was a better runner before he got to the Giants. I still don't understand how Jalen Hyatt has not been more of a prominent figure. You know, I'm looking at right now, just their starting offense, Rob. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players are listed as questionable on their starting offense. 6 questionable right now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's the last thing they need. I mean, it's the absolute last thing that they need. And to answer your Hyatt question, it's hard to connect with those guys, especially deep threats like him when you don't have time. You know, and I'm not excusing everything Daniel Jones has done. I'm just telling you, I don't know a lot of quarterbacks who would have success behind that offensive line. And the fact that they haven't really had Saquon healthy and right for a while now just doubles down on all their issues.
Yeah, see, if I'm Darren Waller, I got to call a mulligan here. I just do. I can't do it, Coach. I just can't. I know I tried the electrostimulation, ain't working. I've tried the Bengay. I've tried the icy hot. It just ain't working, Coach. I'm sorry, man. I'm leaving you hanging like this. I get it, Coach. It's Wednesday. There's a lot of time between now and Wednesday. I'm just telling you, Coach, I can't make it Sunday night. I'll be there in spirit with you. Matter of fact, if you want me to, Coach, I'll be standing on the sideline with you also cheering the team on. I just physically can't get out this Sunday night, man, and give it a go. I'm just letting you know now. I'm just telling we boys. I got to tell you right now. So
yeah. So beyond that, a couple just to stay on the injury theme here. Mac Jones will. This isn't an injury thing. This is a performance thing. But Mac Jones will be starting for the Patriots. That's another team that's doomed. They're done. They're done. The only question is, Derek, is this the last year of Belichick? And I said to you before the season, I think they'll let Kraft would absolutely let him resign. No, there's no doubt about that. So it won't be a firing. But the question is, has Belichick had enough? And does he move on to greener pastures? He clearly isn't a personnel guy.
No.
You
know, he had his heyday. He had a nice 15-year run. His team was the team that other teams strive to be like for a 15-year span. Nothing lasts forever, and now it's the tail end of his tenure in New England. But that's okay because his pedigree will get him another job real quick if he so desires. Even though he's 70, 71, he'll get another job. And he'll probably go somewhere where they've got decent talent. Now, if I was an organization
and a quarterback,
if I was an organization bringing in Bill Belichick, I would tell him one thing, and I would stand by this. Bill, we're going to pay you some good money. We're bringing you in here to coach. You're not picking the players. We have people we trust to pick the players. All you have to do is make them work. But you cannot have a hand in picking the players. I'm sorry. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Hey, we'd love to have you. Now, we'll give you anything else you want, but you can't pick the players. If you can do that, welcome to our family. If you can't, good luck to you wherever you go. Plain and simple.
I'm with you. All right. Beyond that, but I mean, that's something we thought was unimaginable. That's starting to get a little imaginable, with Belichick. This is, you brought this up. I want to hit two other things. Deshaun Watson still not practicing with the rotator cuff. No announcement of where that's going to go with Kevin Stefanski. The Chiefs get Nick Bolton back, which is a big addition for them from the ankle. We know how disruptive that guy is. He is really good. You brought this up when we were having our pre-show meeting. It's kind of interesting. Food for thought. I don't see it coming, but I know it's been a discussion. Vikings are going nowhere fast.
Nope.
If you're the Jets, are you making a phone call?
I would. Why wouldn't
Kirk Cousins? Yeah.
I think Kirk Cousins could help salvage a season, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It might slip him in the back door. When you look at how everybody's bumping each other off in the AFC, outside of Kansas City, think about this, Rob. Let me put it to you like this first. Outside of Kansas City, can you honestly sit here and say beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are guaranteed that you have 5 other teams that you know of that can make the playoffs in the AFC?
Beyond Kansas City?
Beyond Kansas City. Because Buffalo has lost, Baltimore has lost, Cleveland has lost, Miami has lost,
I would say, okay, I feel good about Miami.
Okay.
I feel good about Buffalo. I know they're 3-2. Okay. I feel good about man. Yeah, I don't love Pittsburgh. I don't love Baltimore. I don't love what's happened to Cincinnati. I think there's a lot of mediocrity in the South. You never know what the Chargers are going to do. Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, you make a good point.
If I can pull it off, in the Jets, I'd make that trade. Why not? I mean, I would only sign him for the rest of the season, though. I'm not giving him long term because
he's in the last year of his deal. So
yeah. And Minnesota said basically we're not talking about a new deal right now. I try to pick him up for the rest of this season. I mean, Rodgers has already said he's coming back next year, so you're not going to pay him big money to come back.
Right.
So, but this is about the here and now. And if we can get him for a marginal 5th, 6th round pick, and the Vikings concede the fact that, hey, we're going to have a losing season. And supposedly next year, the quarterback pool is deep.
Oh, it is.
Coming out of college. The quarterback pool is one of the deepest. I might make that move.
Okay. I didn't honestly consider it because it's so weird. Like, when was the last time we saw that kind of move in the NFL with a starting quarterback? You just don't see it.
You don't see it.
You see those kind of, more blockbustery kind of deals in other sports, I guess. But no, it's definitely something to think about for sure.
See, people are looking at it like this. The Jets are 2-3. But you get somebody, if you get a Kirk Cousins, he's better than Zach Wilson, right?
Sure.
He can read defenses. He can get the ball out. You got good weapons there. You got a good running game there. You just got to manage the game. Okay. It's still not too late for somehow, some way. And that's why I said, as talented as the AFC is, they're bumping each other off left and right over there.
Yeah.
Just might be able to slip in the back door with a quarterback, a better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say they can't?
No, I agree with you. Look, if you put Cousins on that team, it changes everything.
Yes.
Changes everything with
Absolutely.
that defense and with Garrett Wilson. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it changes everything with that team. I agree with you. And look, for whatever shortcomings he had as a coach, Nathaniel Hackett's a good offensive coordinator. So you would figure he could get Cousins up to speed pretty quick to have some success. All right. Let's do some power rankings, my man. It's been a minute. Okay. And we're going to do the NFL, not just conference, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we'll do we'll do AFC, NFC on Thursday and Friday of this week, the next 2 days. But this is just an overall through 5 games. So we're beyond the quarter poll. We are 5 in on a 17-game schedule. So you want to go first? You want me to go first? You want to we'll work backwards. We'll go 5 through 1. Where are you?
Since you presented it in the pre-show meeting, my friend, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right.
I want to see if once again we're in sync here.
All right. Number 5, the Detroit Lions. I go with Motown. They've won 3 straight.
Just so you know, I'm not cheating. I'm going to hold my pad like this so you know that I'm not scribbling stuff in. I'll keep my hands right here.
We trust you. Come on, man. They're averaging 29.6 points per game. They're scoring at a high rate. Their defense is getting better. Dan Campbell is more than just the, excitable guy. He looks like a really good coach that they bought in. And I'll tell you, props to Jared Goff. He has really turned things around in Detroit, where it looked like he was just going to be written off. They did it last week they put 42 up last week without Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's right.
So that's impressive. And they, they're getting some bodies back, and they did a good job drafting the Sam Laporta kid, who's the tight end. Anyway, I'll go Detroit 5.
Okay.
4, Miami.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins 4. So far so good with Tua staying healthy. They have an explosive offense. Now, losing Devon Achane is a huge loss for them going on the IR. That guy was a home run hitter in every sense of the word. So that's a shame. But with Mostert and the receivers and everything else they have, I think they'll be okay. I really do. I think it's a tough loss, but they'll be okay.
Okay.
All right. Miami's 4. I have the Chiefs at 3 simply because they lost a game. And they squeaked past the Jets. I for those 2 reasons, I can't buy into them completely yet, but they're getting healthier. They get Nick Bolton back. You never write off Mahomes ever under any circumstance. But right now they're 3 because they do have a loss on their ledger. 2 is the Eagles. I have the Eagles at number 2 simply because even though they're undefeated and they are the defending NFC champions, they haven't looked as clean, and the games haven't been quite as convincing as the team I'm going to tell you that's number 1. But I like the way the Eagles are trending because the passing offense is coming on. I like the adjustments Desai made in the last game, and I truly believe that they're going to step into the toughest part of their schedule at 6-0. That's a nice build up to get there. Number 1's the Niners. I mean, look, they're taking teams apart. They're taking almost everybody apart. They have all kinds of diversity on offense with McCaffrey and Kittle and Ayuk and Debo, and Purdy doesn't turn the ball over, and their offensive line's done a nice job, better than I thought they would do. And then defensively, you're talking about Fred Warner. We're with Nick Bosa. We're talking about some of the best players in the game on that side of the ball, and they're only adding pieces. Hafunga, who's an absolute monster, and they're only adding people to that team. So, it's San Fran, Eagles, Chiefs, Dolphins, Lions right now for me.
Wait, can you see it?
San Fran, Eagles, Chiefs, Miami, Lions. Wow, man.
Brilliant minds think alike. Brilliant minds think alike.
That is crazy, man.
The funny thing is, Detroit's defense is ranked number 6 in the league right now. They're only giving up 21 points a game.
Yeah, that's true. And that's where we thought they were going to be, bad. Yeah.
I put Miami ahead of them because I think Miami's offense is still, even though Miami's defense is giving up 29 a game, Miami's offense is so much more explosive to me. As good as Detroit's offense is, Miami's offense is more explosive, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think they potentially, although you can't, with Mahomes, you always give the nod to Kansas City. But I think Miami has the most explosive offense in the game of anybody.
I couldn't agree more. Kansas City is doing the same thing it did last year. It's not a team that's blowing people out. They just find ways to win.
Yep.
That's what they did last year.
Yeah, they kind of lie in not that they're lying in the weeds. They're 4-1, but still they're 5, whatever they are. 4.
But they're not. But you know what? They're not dominating teams.
No.
They're making the plays when they have to. That's exactly what they did through 20 games last year. 17 times out of 20, they made the necessary plays when they had to, with a bunch of kids on defense. Don't get that wrong. And with Chris Jones out there, he makes a world of difference on that defense. And he's back happy now with his new contract. And Kansas City right now through 5 games is doing exactly what it did last year. You cannot count out a Patrick Mahomes. You cannot count out a Kansas City offense that is one of the most creative offenses in the NFL. They draw plays you've never seen before in the NFL. They use formations you just don't see, and they're successful with them.
Yeah.
Kansas City, and they're still the defending champs unless you know something I don't know. Kansas City's still the defending champs, right? Okay, so Eagles, obviously, we talk about it all the time. Eagles are not that machine yet offensively, but they are very good. You got 400-plus yards of offense in 4 consecutive games, and you're still evolving as an offense.
Right.
You know, even though your defense is not going – see, last year, for the most part, the defense equaled the offense.
Mhm.
That's not going to be the case this year.
No, it's not going to be – like the numbers across the board last year just blew you away. It's not what it's going to be this year.
And I know people in this region hate to hear it, but at least people are honest enough to admit it. San Francisco is the most complete team right now in the NFL. On both sides of the football, in terms of talent and depth, they are the most complete team in the NFL. Brock Purdy does not have to be an elite quarterback to run Kyle Shanahan's system. He's still undefeated in regular season games.
Yeah, they don't lose. They don't lose with him or McCaffrey in the regular season. They just don't lose.
You know, and the who is it told me? Seth Joyner told me it's a crime. It's a crime that the league allowed McCaffrey to be traded to San Francisco. I thought that was one of the. I thought that was one of the funniest lines I'd ever heard. I said, you know what? It is a crime. When you look at how they use him, it's just phenomenal to watch. Can he stay healthy? If you're a 49ers fan, keep your fingers crossed and hold your collective breath every time he touches the ball. You know, but right now, I think he's the leading candidate for MVP, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, and he didn't even have a huge game against the Cowboys, but I agree with you. I mean, he's putting up crazy numbers, but the problem is, Derek, he's already had 99 carries.
Yes.
And he's had 20 catches already through 5 games.
Yep.
That's a lot. Like, they need to dial some of that back, get Elijah Mitchell involved a little bit more and pick and choose your spots a little bit more. I think, I think, you know, I get it. You know, when he rips off a run for 15 yards, you want to just keep going to him, but they gotta ease off a little because he's going to go down.
Yeah.
With his size.
A part of that is due to the fact too, Debo was nicked up for a couple of games.
Yeah.
So, you know, now he's getting healthy again. But when you look at the collection of players they have on offense and all the motion that Shanahan likes to use, and every time the ball snapped, defense is out of position. I can't think of another team that consistently has players wide open in the middle of the field on passing routes than San Francisco. They're like, what the heck is going on here? Nobody's been able to figure this out yet. And Brock Purdy doesn't have the strongest arm, but he doesn't make mistakes with the football. That's all you need.
That's it.
You know, when Garoppolo was in his heyday with the Niners, that's what made Garoppolo so good, is that the team around him was so good he didn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
I think Brock Purdy's a better version of Garoppolo, you know, in terms of delivering the goods.
I agree. That's a good comp.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good comp. Yeah.
In
He's less prone to turnovers.
Yes.
Purdy is than Jimmy G is. Yeah. I mean, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's playing excellent. He's completing 72% of his passes. That's a huge number. 72%. A 123.1 passer rating. I mean, he just looks comfortable in what they ask him to do. They don't ask him to do too much. And it's fine. You don't need to be a hero, man. Just keep feeding those weapons.
Now, when you look at how the plays are distributed, the Niners have thrown the ball 137 times. And they've ran the ball 173. That's a nice balance. It's not a bad balance at all. You know, they're averaging 4.5 yards a carry running the football, and they're averaging 9.3 yards per pass play. Brock Purdy is averaging 254.2 through the air. He's only been sacked 8 times.
Yeah.
in 6 games.
Yeah,
Okay.
the line's done a nice job, and they get the ball out. You know, I mean, it's
What else do you want? What else do you want?
No, I think if you look at it, if you were, like we said, if you're looking just at the NFC, it's like, for my money, it's San Fran and the Eagles, 1, 2, and then the Lions. I think the next tier is the Lions.
Yes.
Maybe Seattle.
Yes.
And then the Cowboys. But I think there's a big drop after the first 2 teams.
I agree. I honestly agree. If those 2 teams stay healthy, I agree that the other teams, as good as they are, the only way it makes you a little nervous is if you have to go to their place. I think Detroit and Seattle playing big games at home will make Niners and Eagles fans a little bit more nervous than they should be, especially with the trickery plays that Detroit likes to run. You know, they like to run gadget plays in Detroit.
Yeah.
And they're very successful with it.
And they're fearless too. Like they operate, at a fearless nature. Yep.
So I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised when you started rattling off the list of your power ranking. As soon as you said Detroit, I said, we have the exact same. I guarantee we have the exact same 5 in order. Sure enough, you know.
Yeah.
That's where they stack up.
All right, we'll get a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hit a couple,
baby.
Yeah, we'll hit a couple different things when we come back. Sixers playing tonight, D-Gun. Woohoo! So we'll discuss a little bit of that. A bunch of other things. We got a good birthday day today. We have good movie day today. So we'll dip into all those kind of things. A couple other updates from around the world of sports. We'll give our Phillies predictions tonight. NOLA predictions as well. We'll do all those things. Don't go anywhere when we come back. We are Sports Take. He's Derek. I'm Rob. Right back.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We were big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street, and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
We're back. Appreciate you hanging with us. If you could hit that like button, friends, we do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, tell a friend, all that good stuff. All right. So a couple things, Gunner. This one, it's sad. Hopefully she'll be able to pull through here. Remember Mary Lou Retton, who was so great in the 84 Olympics?
The darling of America back in the day. Yes.
16 years old, came out of nowhere at West Virginia, ends up winning, gold and all that. Apparently she's fighting for her life with a rare form of pneumonia that the doctors are having trouble treating. And she's been in ICU for the better part of a week, according to her daughter, and is really, they're saying, like, clinging to life kind of stuff. I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough to hear.
Still in the prime of her life, man. Dude, I tell you what, these viruses and stuff that are coming out nowadays, man. And I don't know, you don't know who's telling the truth and who's not on what's what anymore.
Yeah.
But it's really sad, man, that you know, a lot of this stuff we're going through nowadays, I never thought I would live to see some of the stuff that we're dealing with. And yeah, you know, I can still remember, man, once she did what she did in the Olympics, man, she just owned America. Every talk show, commercials.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. And, you know, she was a little bitty thing, you know,
Yeah,
too.
and seemed like a really nice person. So
Yeah,
you know,
it's sad to hear that happen.
yeah, hopefully, you know, hopefully she'll pull through. So saw that. I don't know if you saw this highlight, because I wouldn't blame people if they're not real locked in on preseason NBA basketball. But
Right.
Did you see Dylan Brooks last night? What he
No.
did?
No.
So he plays for the Rockets now. He was ejected less than 5 minutes into his first game with Houston for a flagrant 2 where he basically punched Daniel Tice in the groin.
Why?
Tice was setting a screen and Brooks kind of comes past and gets him, you know, in the jewels pretty hard with a shot. And I mean, this guy, you can't even get through the preseason without this craziness.
Well, you know what it does? It makes the next person who's setting the screen think twice about setting the screen. Or if you do, you know, you got to put the cup on if you're gonna set a screen against this dude. We'll turn on the angle like this.
Oh
turn
my
it
God.
sideways.
So the way Brooks described it, you ready for this? I tried to navigate a screen. I might have tapped him below the waist, but he got right back up. I don't know. It's weird that every time it happens to me, I get picked on. I guess it's part of my reputation.
Oh,
okay.
The
It's you.
mentality. Oh, okay.
You're being picked on. Okay.
Everybody's picking on me.
Oh my God.
All right. Yeah.
Phenomenal. I mean, unbelievable.
That's sad when you play him. Part of your pregame speech is, okay, first of all, protect the family jewels.
Yeah,
you know,
correct.
when he's on the court.
Yeah.
Know where he is at all time. If he starts twitching like this, just get away from him. Just back off from him. Let him have his space.
Give him his personal space. Oh, yeah, I know.
And Chuck Hudson's right. He'll be shanking somebody next.
Oh boy. All right. So the Sixers play tonight against the Celtics, Derek, at the Wells Fargo Center. First of all, considering there's a Phillies game across the street, a playoff game, and I know the Phillies are 2 hours earlier. I mean, there's going to be like plenty of good seats available if you want to go to the Sixers game. But
let me put it to you like this.
Yeah.
Over under for seats for people in attendance to that game, I'm putting it 10,000. 10,000.
Under
10,000.
I'm going to go 7,500. I'll go.
Okay. All right.
No, and by the way, no Embiid, no Harden,
no
Korkmaz again tonight. Here's the thing. Harden's not going to play in any of these preseason games, right?
No, heck no.
Yeah, we're not going to see him.
Well, you know, he might play on a road one because he won't get booed. He might play in a road preseason.
I don't even know if we'll see that, but yeah, I hear you.
I want you know what? First of all, I wonder if he's even going to be in the arena. I would imagine you're on the team. You should be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Secondly, the best thing that happened for him is the Phillies playing tonight, because if the boos rate down, they won't be that prominent because it'll be so empty in the Wells Fargo Center.
Well, I saw Michael Rubin was on a podcast with Patrick Beverly, and Michael Rubin used to be the Sixers owner. He's the owner of the Fanatics, sports paraphernalia and gear and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so he and Pat Beverly was praising Harden. He's in great shape. You know, he's been locked in since he got to us. Michael Rubin said, if I were still owned, it wasn't handled properly by ownership. He said, if I was still there, this wouldn't have happened. And I love James. Nobody knows how much James wants to win this. I mean, it was a love fest between those two and James Harden. And Rubin and Harden are buddies. You know, they're always hanging out. This and that. You know, my thing is, like, that's all well and good. And I appreciate those guys giving you sort of a different stance than what we've been hearing a lot of about Harden. But I'm sorry, I can't get past the fact that he came up as small as you could come up in Game 7, in crunch time in Game 6, and you know, all this stuff in the offseason. It's like we're just going to overlook all this stuff. I
know.
Sorry, I can't.
And to break it up for a moment, you know, we were talking about Belichick, and so all of a sudden, Robert Kraft is trending on X/Twitter, and The Athletic says, I mean, there's generalized stories. The Athletic says, some believe Belichick has earned the right to go out on his own. But Robert Kraft has grown frustrated over the Patriots' recent shortage of success. If you think he would not fire Belichick, you're wrong. New York Post says, Robert Kraft downright angry with Belichick as job security questions grow. More Robert Kraft downright angry. So this is coming from somewhere. First take. If I'm Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, I call Bill Belichick, and here's what I tell him. You're no longer the GM for this franchise. You can coach, but that's it. So, obviously, this is an evolving story. It's starting to pick up a little steam here.
Yeah, so keep in mind, and I don't mean this disparagingly, but Robert Kraft's not a young man. And Robert Kraft wants to win another Super Bowl, before his time comes. So, the notion that it's impossible for him to again, I don't think it will be termed a firing. I think it will be, we've chosen our own paths. We're going our separate ways and blah, blah, blah. And it'll be spun like, hey, this gives Bill a chance if he wants to continue to coach, but we need a new voice. And, all that happy bleep that they throw out there from PR people. That's what it'll be. That's how this will play out. Look, the other thing is Belichick, I don't think he will do this because he's so prideful. Decides I'll just coach and let somebody else pick the players. It's the only other way this works, I think. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen.
Nah, I don't either. I don't in any way, shape, or form think that's going to happen. When stories like this come out, initially you say, all right, people are just throwing stuff up against the wall to see if it sticks. But when you look at the prominent entities that are putting them out there, the Athletic, the New York Post, there's some substance behind them,
Agreed.
And so do you think it's possible that Belichick might not finish out the season?
I don't think
the legendary Bill Belichick.
See, that I'll disagree with. I think he absolutely finishes the season. But the notion that he's a lock to be the coach next year, I've never bought that. I don't think that's the case, but he will finish this year, I think. Let me give you the Phillies lineup today, Derek. It's out. Remember, 5:07 start, so we're not all that far off. Schwarber leading off DHing. Turner hits second at short. Harper hits third at first. Bohm hits cleanup at third. Stott hits fifth at second. Realmuto 6 catching. Castellanos 7 in right field. Marsh gets the start in left field against the righty. He will bat 8th. And Rojas gets the start in center field. He will bat 9th. So Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Stott, Realmuto, Castellanos, Marsh, Rojas for Aaron Nola. That is the
hey, that's how you have a lineup. That's a winning lineup right there.
That's a good lineup.
I got another one for you. Roger Goodell's contract extension not done yet, but they're saying they don't think there's any way, shape, or form it does not get done. This is coming from Front Office Sports. Roger Goodell is nearing a 3-year extension that will push him to $700 million in career earnings. His most recent annual salary is believed to be near $64 million. Is a commissioner of the NFL worth $64 million a year compared to what the players have to go through to make their product, to make the owners the kind of money and the commissioner and the league office the kind of money? Are those entities worth that much more than the players who walk away debilitated and some of them mentally and psychologically damaged for life?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer, Derek, is it's an owners league, and Goodell works for the owners, and it is much more slanted towards just making the owners money hand over fist than it is worrying about ultimately the health of these guys as they age and when they're out of the game. I mean, that's an absurd amount of money. Wow. But it tells you how much that league is making. It just does, I mean, if you can get in on owning a team, I mean, even though you're paying a king's ransom, you will make money if you stay at it long enough. You will.
And Dell gets a lot of credit for the league being financially where it is in terms of tapping into streaming. These big money contracts that are about to come into place, bigger than what they were. The last set of contracts, we were just flabbergasted. The numbers are even bigger with this new contract coming up.
Yep.
So, yes, we understand Rodgers made a lot of money, but you can't make the money without the players.
No. And this is why I go back to the NFLPA. Like, they have never done themselves justice, in my opinion, they're the product, man. We're not watching the NFL for Roger Goodell or Josh Harris or, whatever, Robert Kraft. We're watching it for these players. So I just, it's not going to, he's not going anywhere. First of all, if you're the owners and you're happy with having a puppet in place who's going to make you a ton of money, he's going to stay, right? Number one. Number two, if you're Goodell, why would you ever step away from this? I mean, you just keep making this kind of insane salary, man. He's staying on as long as he can. They're going to have to pry that job from him.
He has lifetime health benefits, dude.
Yeah.
He gets a private helicopter, private plane.
Yep.
Why would you walk away from a job like this?
You wouldn't under any circumstance.
It's the most high profile executive job in all of pro sports. Why would you walk away from that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. All right, let's do some birthdays. You ready?
Birthdays. Let me get my tablet here. Let me get all set up there, buddy.
Some good sports figures today. All right, Steve Young. Steve Young, 62 years young today. No pun intended. He is 62 today, is Steve Young, Hall of Famer. TJ Watt, we talked about him earlier, a little finger injury, but he should be okay.
Yep,
he is 29, huh?
Yep, from the great town of Pewaukee, Wisconsin. I just want to know. Great fishing lake, Pewaukee Lake, one of the best fishing lakes in Wisconsin. Okay.
Is that near where you grew up, your hometown?
It's a little south of Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cardi B. Cardi B is 31 years old today.
She was older, man.
You never know sometimes. Maybe there's some fudging going on there. You never know. I'm just saying. Luke Perry, formerly 90210, was born on this day, 1966, passed away young, unfortunately. Luke Perry, good actor.
Yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt, who was FDR's wife, of course, first lady for the longest stretch, longer than anybody else in the history of the White House. Also someone who did a ton for civil rights, for women's rights, was a very, very active, very smart woman who tried to help people in her role. So I give her a lot of credit. Emily Deschanel, I think that's how you say it, is 47 years old today, the actress. Matt Bomer is 46, the actor. Jane Krakowski, who's been in a lot of different things, is 55 years old, also a stage actress as well. Michelle Trachtenberg, actress, is 38. Joan Cusack, sister of John Cusack, actress, 61 today.
She was great in Working Girls. Yep.
She was. She's good. She's funny. She's got a very funny way about her, Joan Cusack. Dusty Rhodes, the old wrestler, was born.
Let me tell you something, baby. Baby.
Yeah, he was good. 1945, he was born. The great Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates is 77. Man, he looks good for his age.
Pottstown's own.
Yes, Pottstown's own. Temple's own. Lenny James, the actor.
Great actor. Walking Dead, great actor.
Look him up if you don't know the name. When you see the face, you'll know. You see him in a lot of things. T. Suggs, Terrell Suggs, 41 today. What a career. He had
139 career sacks.
He was a beast. He was, man. Mike Conley Jr., still doing his thing, 36 years old. Michelle Wee is 30. God, I remember when she was like a phenom at 14.
Isn't that something?
Oh, 34. Crazy. David Morse, the actor, is 70 years old today. That's all the birthdays I have. What else do you have?
You have Ron Liebman, who played Norma Ray and it was on Friends for a while, born in 1937. Sean Patrick Flannery from the Boondock Saints movie is 58. David Morris, he was in the movie Green Mile, 12 Monkeys, Disturbia, 70 today. Rapper MC Light is 53.
Yep.
The great Norm Nixon is 68 today. And announcer John Miller was born on this day. I forgot to put
great baseball man. Yeah.
Yes. He was born on this day today. Yep. That's it.
Bryce Harper, you'll like this, Gunner, showed up for the game today.
Yeah.
In a prime Deion Sanders shirt.
What?
T-shirt underneath his flannel. He's got the flannel unbuttoned with a Coach Prime shirt on. So he's ready for business. He's got the eye of the tiger with his Prime shirt on, man.
Now that you've said that, I would expect to see Bryce Harper attending a Colorado game when the season's over.
Oh, totally could see that. Yeah.
I can see that happening. Considering he's from Vegas.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I absolutely could see it. Captain Phillips was today. If we're doing the movies, 2013 Captain Phillips. The Transporter, very good movie if you haven't seen it. 2002. Awesome. Statham. Fractured, 2019.
Yep.
Romeo and Juliet, one of the
remakes,
revisions, in 2013. Gemini Man, which pretty solid. Will Smith,
yeah.
I don't know if it was one of his better ones, but
it was all right.
2019. Drop Dead Fred from back in the day, 1991. What else do you have?
The Addams Family, one of the remakes, 2019, and Machete Kills.
Machete.
You ever watch those Machete movies?
Machete.
Yes. 2013.
Yes. Is it what's his name? Danny
Danny Garcia. No, come on.
God.
Danny Trevi. Oh my goodness.
How am I drawing a blank on
Wait. I know Tone knows. Danny Trio. That's it.
Yeah, Danny Trejo. He's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Mario, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mario. All right, everybody, we got to roll. Want to thank Tone DeShields. Tone producing the program. Good job, Tone. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody in the chat section, for all the fun that we always have. Thanks to everybody streaming, everybody listening. And don't go anywhere, because you have the National Football Show with Dan Cilio coming your way. Gunnar and I back at it tomorrow. We will recap the Phillies and the Braves game 3. We'll look ahead to the Eagles and the Jets. I think a win tonight. I think Nola pitches well. I got the Phillies winning the game, D-Gun.
I agree with you, and I just want to say, enjoy the game, enjoy the crowd, enjoy driving through all that mush. Enjoy it all. I will be with you in spirit. I will be with you in spirit, my friend. I will be your spirit animal today.
Look for me on the broadcast
as I sit in front of this big screen TV with food in my lap, a bathroom right down the hall, enjoying every moment.
All right, enjoy your time. We'll talk tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk to you then.